Announcement brought to you by the Blue Moon Guys. We accept full responsibility for lack of self-control during the show and encourage you to let out your crazy, sit back, relax, and let the insanity begin.
You look like you're about 3 feet below me.
Yeah, like the elevator didn't quite go to the top.
Here we go. Hello, who we got here already? There's Olga. She might be listening. I think she's working tonight. She's probably listening. Dolores, hello, Dolores. Purple green. Oh, that's me. We have to wear a crown like our. There's Lori. We got a nice little surprise for them today, don't we?
Uh,
Heather, hello, Heather. Well, let's see what we got. Well, we got a whole whopping 4 so far, but that's cool. 4 good ones. We're gonna have fun tonight. We're gonna try the video thing again. I don't know. I had some issues with it today, but I uploaded it this time and I didn't have any issues. So if it that's stupid, right? If it acts up, then we'll just talk book again. Talk some more book. I got some stuff or whatever. But I'm hoping it'll go through. I don't know. I'm waiting for the word back from EV Mux, but it's a Google problem, is what it is. But maybe they've come across it with somebody else. And all right, 5. Oop, we lost somebody. We got. So we got a few. I got a few. I think most of you saw my little babies talking on Discord. If you guys are part of Discord, go over here to the scene here. Oh yeah, that looks better. So if you have the inclination to call in sometime tonight if you want. I'm gonna really try to get this.
Hi, my name is Rick. I'm a Blue Moon guy.
And that's me. You all saw that. Of course, we got Cam.
Hi, my name is Cam. I'm a Blue Moon guy.
That's us. And then we got the main feature. You can tell we're all wired up and ready to go.
Hi, Heather. Hi, Lori. Yeah, this guy's been smoking something yesterday, guys. I don't know. Been a very busy guy.
I don't know. Just trying to get some stuff. Cute. You guys win a baby. Well, trust me, that wasn't me when I was a baby. But it was fun to make. It was really easy to make, too. All right. Well, I think we'll just get the movie started. Hopefully, we'll have good luck with it. We're going to try. How do I keep hitting that? Oh, you're hitting it.
No,
You're
I
hitting it.
didn't hit.
Oh,
I didn't.
I
I
don't
didn't.
know how I
I
hit
didn't.
it. Wonder why I hit it. All right. Comment. Good one, Cam. Cute. You guys are a baby. Well, what is it for you? It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon for you, isn't it, Purple? And we got. All right, so let's get the movie going. Let's just see. Hey, there's Kathleen. Hello.
Hello.
And me, the movie. I'm keeping my finger crossed that we don't have any issues like we did Saturday night. But we got some book stuff I could talk about. We could talk about a few other things. You know what? First of all, I'm going to show you all something. This has been floating around. This has been floating around on Facebook. And I've done all kinds of research, and I think this is a fake story. Some of you might have seen this about Riley supposedly giving millions of dollars towards the flood victims. Like something like, one of them I think said like $5.9 million or something like that. This one doesn't say that. And then when you hit full details, there are no full details. But all it is on these Facebook groups, the King's Echo and all that usually have all these fake posts. But I Googled, I searched everywhere, and I found nothing on a legitimate site that says it's true. So for all that it's worth right now, it's a bunch of BS. But I wouldn't be. And second of all, if she did this, I would think very. Kyle had a good point about this. She wouldn't have done it so publicly.
No.
She wouldn't have wanted the publicity for it.
No.
So anyway,
You got echo on your voice?
do I?
Yeah,
Oh
you got
shit! Yeah, sorry. Thank you. Is that better?
oh yeah, that
Okay,
sounds
I didn't
better.
realize I couldn't hear it coming back because I was talking. But so, anyways, just ignore it. Hey, Olga, and hey everyone, she is here now. Um, so I don't know. I want to show a couple more things before we get into the movie here. So most of you know Kyle. So I just want to give a little a promo to his. I don't know why these buttons are popping on for some reason. Y'all know Kyle. He's got a great channel, EP Fan Archive. So he's been really posting some pretty cool stuff lately. So I just want to give a little shout out to his channel. And so if you check it out, he does some cool stories. He's the one that did the deep dive into the Atlanta Nash Colonel book, which came out actually pretty good. That was a really nice one. So and then I don't know. I want to share with everybody. If you have not seen this yet, I want to share with you what I hopefully is going to be a regular series after what we record. And this is my first blooper reel that Cam and I are putting out for from the inside the studio. So here, enjoy this. Hopefully this doesn't kick us off, but
All right, so yeah, where's my twinkle? Okay, that's good. Okay, stop. Oh, you know what? Let's start off with. Are you effing kidding me?
Yeah, you hit the twinkle and then you hit the blue moon
I
ball.
think I'll
while
do
you're
that.
effing
I think I'll do that. Hit the twinkle. Hit the disclaimer. This is another public service announcement brought to you by the Blue Moon Guys. Oh, that's got to be for the stats. Yeah, well, I'll go from the twinkle. Are you effing kidding me? And I'll go boom.
oh my god!
These guys are going to think we're smoking something every week.
Exactly. All right, let me stop laughing.
Serious face, poker face.
We try to get our composure.
Oh, I ate lunch just before we did this. I had me a.
anyway, that's what Cam and I go through when we're doing videos. That one took us a little while to get started that day.
Yeah.
It was it was a rough one. Well, I tell you what, I got so many of those, but I thought I gotta add some flavor to this, so I added little special effects and sped up the voice and. Well, anyways, I hope you guys had fun with that one. And I got a couple other little features I'm going to share with everybody. So, some of you might, if you're on Discord, you know this. So we got a little mask overs for us. So here's Cam.
Hi, my name is Cam. I'm a Blue Moon guy.
Here's me.
Hi, my name is Rick. I'm a Blue Moon guy.
And of course, we got Cam's special feature. It's midnight. We gotta have some fun, guys.
I like those though. I like those. They cool.
They were so freaking easy to make. I was trying to figure out how to do it, and this one guy put out a video. It's about 2.5 minutes long, and I thought, geez, that's easy. And you got to pay for a service if you want to do a lot of them. And I just said, heck, I'll do the free one, and I still could make some more under what credits they give me. It was so easy. It took me about 5 minutes for each one to do. It was. I thought, oh man, this is not going to end now. Knowing me, when I kiss on something like this, it is over with. All right, so let's see, I've covered that. So this link will work. This is a permanent link for Discord. So if we start having issues right now until I can get it resolved with Google, we'll know tonight. We're going to get back. We're going to be doing the watch parties on Discord like we were talking about, but we're going to probably do some of the ones that I can't get through right now because I don't want to pass up on some of these videos. I don't want it to stop. So we did a pretty cool test last week, and it worked out pretty good. We had 6 of us, and everybody stayed, went through, and we got to watch the part once we got everything figured out, and it's going to be pretty cool. So I'm going to talk to Cam and see when it'd be a good time for us to try it again. And this week we got a special guest. We'll announce it when we put everything out for inside the studio. So it's gonna be a fun one. And then two weeks from this week we have another special guest. You all know them both, and so we're gonna have some fun. We had a lot of fun with Renee. Okay, let me catch up some here. We got C-Cat. Hey, C-Cat. Lily's here. And we got, that's all that's punched in right now. All right, let's try the movie. This one is The Definitive Elvis, Part 1, The Memphis Years. I think we got within about 5 or 10 minutes of it last week, and it just kept pumping us out. So we'll see what happens. We'll give it a couple shots. If it doesn't, then I'm just, Lori, twins separated at birth. Pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah.
So you all got the chance to see what it's like for Cam and I recording these videos offline. I literally have to edit out generally about 45 minutes to an hour worth of video every week. Not because it's anything bad. It's just, we can't be talking 20 minutes in between each take. We'll lose viewers.
Or someone will get onto something, and then we just veer off into a different direction.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, here we go. The Definitive Elvis. I'll stop it every now and then if there's anything we want to talk about, but here we go.
In 1935, Tupelo, Mississippi was little more than a poor southern town struggling to make itself into a city. Its only claim to fame up to that point was that novelist William Faulkner had been born only 35 miles away. With the Great Depression raging across the nation and Jim Crow the law of the land down south, little had changed in Tupelo since it had been founded in 1870. There was no fanfare on January 8, 1935, when a baby boy was born to Vernon and Gladys Presley in a two-room shotgun shack on the outskirts of town. The boy was the second of a set of twins that had been delivered with some difficulty. The first twin was stillborn. The Presleys decided to name the child nonetheless and chose Jesse Garin Presley as the name of their first son, who would soon be buried at Priceville Cemetery. They christened their surviving son Elvis Aaron Presley in honor of his father's middle name and as a rhyming tribute
Was
to
that
his
ever
brother.
confirmed?
A poor boy born into
What
the
he
last
just said?
Yeah, was it ever confirmed that Jesse was buried at Priceville?
Well, a lot of all the I've heard a lot of family members say yes. They just don't know. I guess obviously they just don't know. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people those times buried maybe lost children or what. Even after they had the tornado through there, they may have just buried some people and couldn't afford tombstones and all that. And there may be other people that are just buried in unmarked graves.
Did Elvis ever know?
Where he was at?
Yeah.
You know what? That's a pretty good question. I don't know. If he did, he sure kept it close to his vest, didn't he? And which I would do too.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a pretty good question.
Old South, there was no indication that the baby now resting in a blanket next to his mother by the light of oil lamps in their modest home would spark a cultural revolution the likes of which mankind had never seen.
I gotta keep my fingers still. This is about the time we got kicked off on Saturday. Keep my mouth shut.
Elvis Presley was going to change the world. But growing up, even for a future king, is always difficult. Tupelo, Mississippi, with its dirty streets and moonshine whiskey, had served its purpose as the beginning of a story that would one day enthrall people all over the world. But the real story would always lead to a city on the Mississippi River, one whose name went all the way back to ancient Egypt as a mythical and powerful city where gods were born, one whose name is still spoken with awe: Memphis. Vernon, Gladys, and Elvis Presley arrived in Memphis, Tennessee in 1948 with their worldly possessions strapped to the top of their car. The young
Well, then it's safe to say Billy knew Elvis knew.
Say that again?
I say then it's safe to assume if Billy knew, then Elvis knew.
That's good. Yeah, I'm sure.
Escape the poverty.
Or at least Gene Smith knew, because Gene was a few years younger than Elvis, right? Or older? I can't
remember.
I know Billy was younger, obviously.
I think Gene was the older one.
Yeah.
That had dogged them in Tupelo. But it will be a hard climb from the underbelly of society. The Presleys would have some assistance, however. They managed to get an apartment at a public housing project called Lauderdale Courts, which, as luck would have it, was within walking distance of Vernon's job and would only cost them $35 a month in rent. The complex also served as Elvis's home, playground, and hideaway during the formative years of his later childhood.
Can you imagine if the word got out of where Jesse actually was buried? Up until the point when they moved everything to Graceland, which they would have moved him there if they knew where he was at, and he would have been guarded. But that place would have just been ransacked with fans. And people are sick too. Some people are sick. I wouldn't have doubted people went out there with shovels trying to.
America was also undergoing a transformation during those years. World War II had left the nation with more prosperity than it had seen in a generation. People were working hard now, not just to survive, but to afford some of the new comforts life had to offer, like automated kitchens, big cars, and a new device that was making entertainment not only a part of life, but almost a necessity: the television set. For his part, young Elvis was traumatized by the move. Though he had always been somewhat separate from his classmates in Tupelo, he had at least known them all. Now he was faced with having to go to a new school where he would feel even more like an outsider. With his outlandish hair and shy demeanor, young Elvis cut quite a striking figure in early 1950s Memphis. But Memphis had always been a city that embraced its differences while managing to exploit them at the same time. It was the home of WDIA, the first all-black radio station in the nation, which featured DJs like school teacher by day Nat D. Williams and future blues legend B.B. King. It was also the birthplace of something that would change the world, although it didn't have a champion or even a name. On March 5th, 1951, a small group of musicians, including a young piano player named Ike Turner, gathered at the Memphis recording service at 706 Union Avenue. That night, they recorded a single called Rocket 88. Though they considered it a strictly rhythm and blues record, the press and the public started calling it by a new name: rock and roll. Soon afterwards, the Memphis recording service also had a new name: Sun Records.
Elvis moved up from Tupelo, Mississippi, 1948, and enrolled in Humes High School. Coincidentally and ironically, we're in the exact same classes from the 8th grade until the 12th grade.
You know, everybody tried to dress like everybody else, but Elvis didn't. The thing I remember about him more than anything else was it could be the coldest day and he would have a suit coat on with the flap up on his collar.
Cool, mate.
I always thought that maybe he couldn't afford a jacket.
Look at that curl. Look at the lip curled. Even then.
Met Elvis in about 1949 when I moved in Lauderdale Court. We lived in a apartment building. It was probably 54 apartments in the building. And sometime within the first 2 or 3 months,
I've seen his name many times.
Elvis, when he was young, didn't have too many friends. He was always a strange kid in high school and in the neighborhood. He was the one long.
I know that voice.
Weird clothes. Everybody else wore
Yeah, like you were there, Joe.
So he didn't have too many friends.
Elvis and I first met in January ¡54. He was, of course, had already graduated from school, and I was in school, a sophomore at Southside. And I think Elvis always dressed flashy. The first time I saw him at church, he had on a dark sport coat and light pants. He was very striking and handsome, his long hair and that beautiful face. But a lot of his persona that he wanted people to see was really an effort for him to do that, because he was not that confident in himself and was basically very shy.
Well, Elvis came there one day looking at the window. He always come by there, but I know who he was. So one day I invited him. I said, come on in, young man. Could I show you around? He said, okay. So we walked in and I showed him everything. And he said, one of these days I'm going to buy you out. I said, do me a favor, don't buy me out, just buy from me, which he never forgot.
The class was large, 350, something like that. But everybody knew Elvis.
That's more than my senior year class. Holy crap. That's a big freaking school.
He stood out in a way that you couldn't help from knowing him.
We did everything that you could do without money. Played an awful lot of football, dated, had our own parties. We lived close to a swimming pool. We went to a lot of movies, a lot of times just sitting around talking. Elvis playing his guitar, singing.
Around this time, Elvis began to seriously ponder life after Hume's High.
Yeah.
Although he had never shied away from hard work and had always been humble and unassuming, his fondest desire was to be an entertainer. Presley spent hour after hour listening to Dewey Phillips' Red Hot and Blue on the radio and watching movies starring a new breed of actor personified by James Dean and Marlon Brando, who were known for their smoldering sex appeal and brooding, melancholy performances. He also admired Tony Curtis's hair. Although Elvis had always sung to friends and family, he hadn't performed in front of a live audience since a contest at the Tupelo Fairgrounds when he was 11 years old.
What?
That day, he had...
Someone posted a question to Billy, why Joe sued Elvis?
Yeah, it had to do with a racquetball venture that never materialized.
And so Joe sued, well, obviously while he was still alive.
Yeah.
And yet he was still around at the end.
Mm-hmm.
I got to tell you something. Today I was sitting here going through some of the books I have, trying to organize what I have, because I really want to get more into some of these book chats, because they're really exhilarating conversations. And I come across a few things about Joe and some other stuff, just other things. I was just kind of reading snippets here and there. And I'm reading stuff that, where the hell have I been for it's all these years? If I read it before, I've sure as hell forgotten it. I mean, I've more focused on details about Elvis now than I ever was since I started this channel. But some of these things are just like, I thought I would have heard about this. I may have it, but just, I'm getting old.
I can't remember.
What's that?
I can't remember where it was. It was in one of my books I had, but it had something to do with a racquetball venture that never materialized.
I got to look that up, find out what the whole deal, what happened. We got to figure that. I got to make a note. I can't note about my notes. I got invisible ink. It all disappears after I take my finger off. I got to find out the information. That's really interesting.
His rendition of the tearjerker Old Shep winning $5 and free admission to the rides.
What? Okay, I didn't know he was involved, but figures, right? That was such a scam.
Yeah, they were. He eventually. That's why he called it off because he got a idea that the guys are trying to take him for a fool.
Yeah, wasn't Dr. Nick involved in that too?
Yes.
Yeah, so I did read about this down. I now I'm connecting it.
Yeah.
Because I remember, because there some like rumors going around that the typical tabloid rumors that Elvis was killed because they owed Elvis money or something like that, or.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Elvis was a walking National Enquirer, man, for other people.
Mm-hmm.
In his senior year of high school, Elvis decided to enter the talent show competition in the hopes of furthering his private ambitions. This time, he came in first.
I used to have powers with that finger.
And that really helped his self-esteem. From that time on, you could really see the difference. Elvis, I'm sure at that time had all a lot to do with him.
So, this is a good picture to look at. And now I know Elvis had some minor cosmetic surgery or something here or there, just little things, I don't know, very minor stuff. But people were trying to convince me that Elvis's nose was totally different in his later years, in the 70s, all that, than it was like when he was a kid. That's the same frickin' same nose right there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what he would have done to it.
No.
All right.
Decided he really liked being in front of people performing.
Near the end of the year, around May, we were talking about what we're going to do. And I said,
brain's on fire tonight.
My mom and dad want me to go to business college, and he put out a big laugh. Man, he laughed real hard. And he wasn't laughing at me. He just was laughing of the idea of going to school after getting out. And I said, well, what do you want to do? And he said, well, one of these days I want a hillbilly band.
For his part, Elvis was busy with the same things most teenage boys are concerned with: school, cars, and most of all, girls. After he graduated high school, Elvis faced an uncertain future. Although he had always been a decent student, there was no question of his proceeding to college. His parents simply couldn't afford it, and besides, he had no desire to remain in a school environment. The Presleys had been evicted from their home in Lauderdale courts because their income exceeded the allowable limit for assisted housing. But it wasn't enough to support a family of 3, so Elvis's future was clear. In order to help his family survive, he would have to go to work. Although Elvis had taken part-time jobs in the past, most significantly at the Lowe's State Theater in town, he began looking for something that could actually lead to a career. On the day of his graduation, Elvis Aaron Presley walked into the Tennessee Employment Security offices on Union Avenue and asked to be tested and placed into a job. Any job, although he did say his preference would be to drive a truck. His first assignment was a short-term job at the M.B. Parker Company, where one day his employer found him close to tears. Elvis told him that he needed an advance on his salary to make his car payment. His boss told him that was against company policy, but he would personally loan Elvis the $33. True to his word, Elvis paid him back 2 days later after receiving his paycheck. The strange part about this incident is that Elvis's car was already paid for. That same week, he showed up at the Memphis recording service to pay for and cut a record called My Happiness.
Evening shadows make me blue.
I like this.
The receptionist, Marion Kesker, was impressed enough by the young man with the deep-set eyes and shy demeanor that she made a note to herself to mention the boy to her boss, Sam Phillips.
Even though it's a very primitive recording, and I'm talking over it so they don't pop us. Even though it's a very primitive recording, it's still brilliant. considering he was only 19.
It was, I think it's one of the coolest stories about that record is because, as the story goes, his mother and father never heard it.
Oh,
He, no, he got it. He didn't even own a record player, and he went over. I got to figure. I got to find where I read that, and I've heard that because read it in a few other books. I think I might. I think even Jerry. I'm not going to even try to guess. Anyway, he went over to a friend's house who had a record player, and he listened to it, and he supposedly didn't like how he sounded, and he left the
wow,
record there, and
wow.
that's where it remained until it came. It was among the things that when he died, he left to his daughter, and she wound up auctioning it off, and Jack White's the one that bought it, the art,
Wow.
the artist.
Yeah.
Yeah, so his mother and father never heard it.
Sure.
His mother never heard it, period, and his father heard him sing it somewhere along the line, I think, or whatever. Maybe not. Yeah, because I think they released it on. Oh well. Anyway, I have to. My details suck. Now that's my story. I'm sticking to it, but I that's what I've read. I know in a few books, and that since they didn't have a record player at home, he couldn't play it at home anyways. So he went over to a friend's house and played it over there and said he didn't like it, and his friend put it away, and you know, probably never thought anything about it, and there it sat all those years.
Shame. I guess his mother still would have been proud.
Oh, sure she would have. Of course she would have. I mean, look how proud she was when they played his song on the radio the first time. That's the way that That's the way it is. That's all right, Mama.
Hmm.
Elvis next went to work for Precision Tool, making artillery shells for the government. But after only a few months, fate intervened, answering one of his dreams. Elvis Presley was going to be a truck driver.
That truck kept going by there, I noticed, quite frequently, and I thought, well, hell, these people got a lot of business in this area, you know? But anyway, he finally got up
Hey,
the courage
Susan.
to come in and
Welcome
tell
aboard.
Marion that he wanted to make a record for his mother, a birthday record. Elvis came back, and I just saw the guy, and I couldn't refuse him. And I thought, hey, yeah, I'll make you a record, Elvis. You got $4?
I never got the deal with Sam's missing mustache.
The thing was, I listened to him, and he sang My Happiness.
But he
And
wasn't there.
No.
Sam Phillips wasn't there.
No.
And he couldn't have heard it because it was recorded on an acetate. There's no tape of it.
Mhm. It's because of My Happiness that Marion wrote his name down.
That's right. But Sam Phillips was making it sound like he was the one that talked to Elvis that day. But Sam wasn't even there that day. He was down the street having lunch or something like that with Dewey Phillips. And Marion's the one that, because that's what she said, who do you sound like, and all that other stuff. And she knew how to work. He goes in there and records straight to an acetate. It doesn't go to a tape or anything like that. She hands it to him, it's gone, and that's the only copy of it.
Yeah, because as far as I can remember, she said she couldn't. She didn't know how to run the tape machine. She only knew how to
Right.
how to
Yeah, I mean,
do that
acetate is simple.
acetate recording.
I don't know if you. I knew. I seen one time in a museum or something like that, and they had one that was functional, and they would show you how it would do it. In fact, if I remember correctly, back then you could actually record something yourself on an acetate. You pay, probably pay, I don't know what it costs. Anyways, but that Sam has no reason to even bullshit. Anyways, other than the fact that he doesn't want to give the credit to Marion for finding him.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of, and I've always thought Sam in the later years took the whole deal of his involvement with Elvis a little too far and kind of expanded on the story sometime. I just felt he always did that. I don't take away from the fact that, he discovered the star in him when he came in there and did That's All Right, Mama.
But
But
they put a little bit of extra polish on the shoe that didn't exist.
exactly. So did I see that Brent's in? Is Brent here? Yeah, hey, Brent. Hey, better late than never. Go ahead and start saying goodbye now, though. It's going to be a while. We got, for all you latecomers, we got some features for you here to share with you when we get done here. If you haven't seen them, I'm kind of proud of them. I got bored today and we started making this stuff. And okay, so what we got? He didn't like. Oh, wait a minute. What'd she say? He didn't like the tip of his nose and supposedly had minor surgery in Germany. Then went over approximately, had lower eye lift. I wonder if he had that same guy that did the massage on him from South Africa do his nose. That guy was a creep, man. Come running out of there. Dang guy's a queer, man. Jeez, me too. I thought I was going to be sick a few times today. All right, well, let's get going.
This damn guy was just unusually distinct. And I just simply knew that this guy was
I see what you're
as
saying, but
potentially good
what's that?
as any person
I don't get it.
He just went down to make a record to see, to see how he would sound.
See, so Vernon's telling the story of really what happened. Sam's telling the story that's always been the story that he went down there to record a record for his mother's birthday when his mother's birthday wasn't for a while yet.
Mm-hmm.
But Elvis had to be curious to know what he sounded like, and that's what anybody would have done. They would have gone there to see what and who is it? Vernon sitting there telling him exactly what happened.
Mr. Sam Phillips was owner of the recording studio at the time. So he told him, he said, I want to get your name and address before you leave because I might use you, something might come up.
Now he's telling
So
him.
about 8 months later, they called him one night to come down. I think we've got something you can use.
When Elvis and I first met Sam, we were both a little intimidated, and I was almost frightful of him because we would go to recording sessions with him and that kind of thing. And he was very aggressive, and I see now that I'm older, it was the professionalism in him that he knew exactly what he wanted and he was going to get it. But I think he knew from the beginning that he had Elvis's best interest at heart.
Elvis had met Sam Phillips, and he said, well, let's see if we can work with you, and I'll put you together with two great musicians here, Scotty Moore and Bill Black. Bill Black was working over at Firestone at the time. Scotty was an accomplished guitar player right there in Memphis. And so Elvis came over there, and he was in his Lincoln. And he was wearing a pink shirt and black pants with a pink stripe down the side, I think. And he came in with that Lincoln smoking, and that's when they met him. I don't think they knew what to think of Elvis. I don't believe they ever saw anyone like Elvis before, and Scotty made a remark, I believe, to Bill, said, well, what do you think of that? He says, well, I just don't know. But Sam wants us to work with him, so we'll give it a go.
I know in Scotty's book he describes the first time he came over to his house to practice it, his wife kind of took a look at him. It's great. It's a great first impression. I mean, his personality and everything they love, but it's just, when you first see him, you're like,
I knew Scotty Moore had a lot of patience, and Bill Black was the best upright slap bass player. And so Scotty and Bill, they worked back and forth, and they wouldn't have it. And so, I don't know, after the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th time, we were about ready to sack everything up that night and come back again later on.
Elvis wanted to do all these Dean Martin songs, and it just wasn't cutting it. And then I can just see Sam in the studio, just getting ready to say, oh, that's it, that's it. And then Elvis just starts strumming on this Arthur Big Boy Credit tune, That's All Right Mama. And then Scotty and Bill just come on into it. And then Sam comes out and says, hey guys, what are you doing? And Elvis says, you like that? And he said, hell yeah, I like that. Let's do it again.
It's all right.
When I heard it,
Hi, Helen.
Broke me up. I mean, I said, oh, what a version.
Hi, Helen.
Of a rhythm and blues thing. Almost a gut bucket thing, but with the tempo up, it became a quote-unquote a rhythm and blues thing. And so that's how really we got started, and when I heard that, I knew that was what I was looking for, and I hope and prayed that it was the thing that would help us to get Elvis started.
So first or second take, they had it.
Right now, it's old Phillips Band, Red Hot and Blue, coming through WHBQ in Hotel Chiska on the Maybelline floor right in good old Memphis, Tennessee.
Hey, Duncan.
Daddy-O Dewey, what do you want to know? Oh, yes, good people, so Daddy-O Dewey on WHBQ. Coming at you Red Hot and Blue, 9 to midnight. We're going to rock, we're going to roll. I'm going to take all this payola and have a whole lot of fun. Dewey Phillips was a very unorthodox disc jockey, had his own style, not sounding like anybody else. His main popularity was from 9 to midnight at night on WHBQ, playing black music, rhythm and blues songs. We called it race music at that time. So the black audience was zeroing in on Dewey at night, and then the white kids were starting to pick up on that music at that time. It was a thing to listen to Dewey Phillips at night. Everybody wanted to listen to Dewey Phillips. Dewey Phillips thought the moon rose and set in Sam Phillips. So Sam would bring up new artist records to Dewey and let Dewey be the first disc jockey in Memphis to play them. Well, Sam brought Elvis up. That's all right, Mama. And he said, Dewey, he said, I got an act here that is very unique and very unusual. You got to listen to this guy. It's a white guy sounding black. And so Dewey put it on and listened to it, and he had a phrase, hey, mother, that's a hit, that's a smash, you know.
What happened was Dewey Phillips started playing Elvis's That's All Right, Mama on his radio show at WHBQ. That was coming from the Hotel Chiska. That's where the studio was. Sam Phillips had brought it down to him, no relation. And so he kept playing it over and over, and it was a big hit.
I love that
and
picture
we
right
said, well,
there.
we'll have to have Elvis come on down here and give us some words on the mic. Nobody could find him. Elvis, finding out that he was going to be on the radio, was very, very nervous. And he just couldn't be around any radios. And I can just imagine him saying, well, I'll see you guys later. So I think it was his mother that actually said, well, if Elvis is anywhere, it's probably down at the theater.
Yeah, disc jockey by the name of Dewey Phillips. Well, he called the house and wondered where Elvis was. I said, well, he's gone to the show.
There
I
we
said,
go.
well, see if you can get him down here. I said, the phone's ringing off the wall and the telegram's coming in and I can't answer the phone. I got to do my job, you know. So we walked up to the theater and got him, and he went down to the station.
They coaxed him into coming on down to WHBQ studios, and Elvis was very, very nervous. And Dewey just started talking to him and interviewing him, and Elvis had no idea that the microphone was on. He thought they were just talking. And so Elvis said, okay, well, when are we going to do the interview? He says, son, it's already been done.
Dewey Phillips was a character.
I bet he
I went
turned
with
white
Elvis
as
a few
heat.
times to the studio when he was broadcasting, and you know, he was fascinating to watch, but he would put on a record, and then while that's playing, he would turn around and say things to Elvis, you know, talking to him and trying to get interviews going, and he was a crazy man.
An advertising agency had hired me to play records like a mobile DJ thing, and they had a flatbed truck, and it was just Elvis, Scotty, and Bill. And I introduced Elvis on stage. That was the first time I'd seen him in person, when having turned professional and had a record out. And of course, I'd seen him a lot in high school and around the neighborhood and all. But I think that really was his very first official public appearance in Memphis.
With the success of That's All Right, Elvis, Scotty, and Bill began playing local shows as the Blue Moon Boys, a name that capitalized on the song Blue Moon of Kentucky, which was the B-side of their hit single and one that helped maintain a sense of fairness in the billing. That would change as it became increasingly evident that even though Elvis couldn't have done the record without them, no one was coming to see Scotty Moore and Bill Black. Their first performance was at the Overton Park Band Shell in Memphis.
That little show at Overton Park Shell right here in Midtown Memphis, Tennessee, was a turning point in that man's career so far as his innate feeling toward
Oh, Sam, you're
whether
so
or not
dramatic.
people were going to love him, like him, and appreciate what he was giving them and do.
I tell you, he's got one of the ugliest fucking beards I've ever seen, though.
Yeah, I don't get the whole.
Unless something happened where he got scarred up, I just never understood. And he never looked like the Sam Phillips in the 50s. You know, it's just that beard was, anyway, to each his own.
Doing his best to do it. By God, when he got on that stage, Unless you were there, you're not going to believe the response.
But playing small gigs in their hometown, however thrilling local celebrity status might be, was never going to further their careers. The trio decided to expand their horizons. Sam Phillips and Bob Neal, who functioned as Elvis's manager, arranged to get the Blue Moon Boys booked on a couple of country music radio programs,
Yeah, I've
the
always wondered
Louisiana
that, see
Hayride
that,
and the
always.
legendary Grand Ole Opry. The Opry was the peak of success for a country music star, and it was rare that an unknown like Elvis Presley would be afforded the opportunity of playing on its valuable airwaves.
I was working for about a year and a half in nightclubs and football fields, barns.
Looks like the guy's got a
Louisiana
dead beaver
Hayride,
on his face. Is what?
They threw me off the Grand Ole Opry.
Yeah.
I thought it was the guy the wrong freaking animal. What the hell I said that? Of all animals, I got to pick.
Went to Grand Ole
Sorry,
Opry, man,
guys.
they gave me $6 and said, look, go home.
No
man.
intention to it.
I knew Jim Denny very well, who
Wolfman,
was
yeah.
program director for the Grand Ole Opry. But they weren't interested in what we were doing on Elvis. And after the fourth or fifth time we had cussed and discussed this, he said, if the boys in the neighborhood sometime wants to drop by, we see if we can maybe get him on there. Finally got him to commit to put him on the old Hank Snow's portion at 10:15 at night. When we finally got him on, Elvis went on stage. And he didn't get the greatest introduction.
Some of them thought he was a little wild, you know. Because, he'd just wiggle his knees. I thought he was pretty good.
I met Elvis the first time when I was working on the Grand Ole Opry as a bass player. And I was walking across the stage, and I see this guy standing over in a corner. He's got a guitar strapped over his back. And he's standing there all alone. He's pacing around. And I walked over to him and I said, my name is Buddy Kill and I work on the Opry. What's the matter with you? He said, I'm Elvis Presley and I'm scared to death. And I said, of what? He said, these people are going to hate me. I said, no, they're not going to hate you. He said, yes, they are. They're going to hate me. But he went on stage and he did Blue Moon of Kentucky. You wouldn't know he was nervous once he got on the stage.
He went to audition for them, and somehow they didn't really care for him. I mean, the management. They said, oh, you better keep your job, and go back to driving a truck or something. So that kind of hurt his feelings, and I don't think he ever got over that one.
Jim Denny is quoted as saying, don't give up your day job. I have trouble believing that he said that, but Scotty Moore says he heard him say it. So if Scotty heard him say it.
That was kind of a shock for him, I think, because he was excited to do it and, ready to perform on stage, but it was, he wasn't received well. He was hurt over that, I think, and not so much hurt that they didn't like his music, but hurt that another person would be so blunt and so hurtful to say something to him like, don't give up your day job.
Scotty Moore told me that Elvis cried all the way back from Nashville to Memphis. And the truth be known, that Elvis was not a fan of Nashville, Tennessee. And it was mainly because of that. He liked the fact that the musicians were great in Nashville, he liked the fact the studio was great. By the same token, mister, he never bought a house there, never partied there, never hung out in Nashville. What does that tell you?
The Blue Moon Boys were crushed by the response to their performance. That failure on the Grand Ole Opry would leave a bad taste in Elvis's mouth for years to come. The Louisiana Hayride, on the other hand, was almost a stepchild to the Opry. It was a nice show, but nothing that could ever be too important to a performer's career.
When he went on and he started out on That's All Right, Mama, This guy was still in his little cocoon, you know, before that butterfly comes on out. And Elvis Presley tore him up alive.
It seems to me that the whole attitude was different at the Louisiana Hayride, and I don't know if it was, maybe they were a little more forgiving or accepting than the Opry was at that time. But no, I think he enjoyed the trips to the Louisiana Hayride. But people in Memphis instinctively knew, you know, that he was destined for greatness. And I don't think anybody in Memphis, I never heard an unkind word or anybody that wasn't excited about him.
The first time I heard Elvis Presley was on Al Benson's show in Chicago, a rhythm and blues station. I grew up on the south side of Chicago. It was an all-black station, of course. It just gave me life and hope and the desire to make music. Then one day, Al Benson said, "We've got this new guy, Eldon Priestley, called Mystery Train. Train, train, coming down the line." And it was different from any of the Chicago blues. I didn't know he was a white guy. It's just that people were talking about it and it had that beat. And only later, when I saw him on TV, did I realize Elvis Presley was in fact Eldon Priestley of Mystery Train.
Elvis's...
You know, yeah, Susan, I think the two people that he wound up hating the most in his past would be Steve Allen and that guy from the Opry. Who was, they, you know, it was one thing to sit here and hear people, you know, or read about stuff in the paper, but when they're in your face and they do this stuff, that's just blatant, nasty, and rude.
Yeah.
You know, he accepted the fact that say people are going to write things in the papers or say things on the news or interviews, but Steve Allen to do the shit that he did to him on that show, you know, on national TV. And then this guy who just thought, you know, he couldn't have, you know, you couldn't have just said nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for coming by. You know, that's it. Why burst? It just shows you a disdain that the guy had for that type of music.
I guess he ate his head very quickly, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah. I there was a guy that I met at one of these rock and roll album, you know, they have these places where they sell albums, you know, and there was a guy there that had worked at the Opry, wasn't at that time, but he worked at the Opry in the maintenance department or something like that. He worked there for like 30 years, and he said that those people there that ran that Opry were the most obnoxious, self-centered people that, you know, if you weren't pure country or anything like that, they wanted nothing to do with you. But they had to give in because times were changing. But they were just rude to people, stuck up in the, you know, what happened to Southern hospitality? What's a rude habit?
Success on the Hayride led to a one-year contract to appear on the show every Saturday. Now a full-time musician, Elvis returned home and quit his job as a truck driver, spurning the advice he had received at the Opry.
Yeah.
The Hayride also introduced Elvis to a new friend who would have a profound effect on the life of the king of rock and roll. He was a Dutch immigrant and former carnival barker named Andreas van Kuyik, but his friends just called him Colonel.
Van Kuyik?
He just seemed to appear well, I guess he would. He has an integral part.
Yeah. But don't cockroaches do that too?
Yeah, when you turn the lights on, they disappear. Yeah.
Was different from most.
Yes,
See, he wasn't a colonel when I first met him.
That's the way
People
Quincy
called
Jones
him
was.
Colonel, but when I met him, he was just Tom. And that's the reason I refer to him as Tom. And we got along fine. But, oh yeah, very good promoter.
Colonel Parker at that time managed an act named Hank Snow.
Yeah, and Dolores, I can't answer that question. The only thing I would assume is that it was probably a different group of people involved with the Opry than were there when he was in the 50s and probably saw his contribution country music? I don't know. That's a good question. That's the only thing I could guess. And that would just be, my opinion.
And Elvis was an extra
Not that
added
I'm right about
attraction.
it,
That's what it said on the poster cards. And Elvis was getting pretty popular in Arkansas, Mississippi, Tennessee, Kentucky, Texas, and Oklahoma. So Colonel Parker picked up Elvis to open up the show, or maybe be second on the bill, or third on the bill. Well, Colonel Parker saw what was happening. He knew something was happening, but he couldn't place his finger on it because every show that Elvis went on those shows, he stole the show. The other acts, they could have given up and gone home because after Elvis had left, they kept hollering, "We want Elvis, we want Elvis." So Colonel Parker told Hank Snow, they had an agency together over in Nashville. He said, Hank, why don't you go down to Memphis and talk to Elvis's parents, Gladys and Burnham, and give them a sell job and tell them what I've done for you. They'll be impressed by you because you're a big country star, and it'll help us get Elvis in this agency. And Hank Snow gave Colonel Parker a great recommendation and told him how much Colonel had helped his career along. And while he was out on the road, he read in the trade magazines in Billboard and Variety that Elvis had signed with Colonel Tom Parker. So as soon as Hank Snow got off the road, he said he went into Colonel Parker's office and he said, "Hey, Colonel, I see where we got that Elvis Presley kid." And Colonel Parker said, "What do you mean we, Hank?"
Colonel's all right, I guess. Yeah, I mean, he's not my favorite person, but we didn't get along, but I didn't have to get along with the Colonel. Anything I needed something, I'd go see Elvis. But, he worked 150% for Elvis, period. That's all he knew about. He didn't care what anybody's concerned about anything. He could care less. As long as he was working for Elvis, he was happy.
Let's face it, he was an old carny huckster. He wasn't interested in art. He was interested in showy glitter and colors and things that happened quickly and things that made money. I mean, this is a guy that used to stand outside of Elvis's early concerts selling 8x10 glossies of Elvis for 10 cents. And he stood there himself hawking them.
Colonel Parker once told him that you have $1 million worth of talent. And he said, by the end of the year, you'll have $1 million. And I believe he would say that. I mean, that's the way the Colonel was, and he always thought ahead. And when he said something, he really came through with it. And
if you don't know, ask Joe.
By the time of my junior prom in '55, he was.
I was going to say that the omnipotent
I'll always
Joe.
remember that because he was in Texas, and I was so afraid that he wasn't going to get back in town for my prom. And his mom and I had actually been shopping, and she had bought my dress. And Bob Neal's wife had ordered my flowers, which Elvis got kind of upset about that because he ordered flowers himself, and he was kind of bothered that they thought that he wouldn't remember to order my corsage. So I left the one that Miss Neal ordered in the refrigerator, of course, but he came in just in time. And in fact, I just a couple of months ago went to my 45th class reunion, and it was funny. So many of the people that were in school said, boy, I remember when Elvis came over and picked you up, and I remember y'all doing this, and I remember when y'all walked in at the prom. It's a lot of fun memories.
With Colonel Parker's promise fresh in his mind, Elvis's career began a rapid acceleration unmatched in the history of entertainment. He began to get bookings all over the country, still knocking him dead with that Presley performance style, but this time he had the promotional powers of Colonel Tom behind him, as well as a new sound courtesy of the latest addition to the band, drummer D.J. Fontana. Although the Colonel appreciated all that Sam Phillips had done to get Elvis started, he felt that Sun, with its limited influence, could only take Presley so far, and Parker had bigger plans for the performer he now called his boy. He also didn't want anyone else around to influence Elvis's thinking when it came to business decisions.
Look at him, he looks like a frog.
On November 20th, 1950.
Looks like a what?
He looks like a frog.
A frog?
Yeah.
Ribbit.
That color picture with those round glasses looks like a frog.
1955, Elvis signed with recording giant RCA in a deal that was reportedly the biggest in the history of the music industry to date. Presley also began appearing on television, a blossoming medium with growing power and influence over the American way of life. Arthur Godfrey's talent show had auditioned Elvis in New York for a spot on the program, but decided he just wasn't good enough for their quality show. Thanks to his appearances on the Dorsey Brothers stage show, Presley was rapidly becoming something of a curiosity to the teenagers who had been raised on Frank Sinatra and Perry Como.
And you know the way she touches your cheek. Well, I taught her how.
Everything he did from then on was just like, you know, wow, look where he's at now. It was just a steady progression of popularity, and his visibility on television was exciting, of course.
The sight of the tears drives you out of your mind.
Elvis and I talked about getting married almost from the time we started dating. Probably until early
Hey, Dan, for you.
We remained friends forever and ever. In fact, we were still friends even when we knew that we did not have a future together, because
Noting
his
that
career
small
was
space
going
of time,
a totally different way. We
the
knew that
change
he
in
would
his
never have.
voice.
Yeah.
That small change of time from the Opry time to here, the stage show, how much his voice has matured already.
Yeah. He's got more vocal control.
Yes, more depth.
On a song like this, which is surprisingly a hard song to sing.
Yeah.
A 9-to-5 job, and we both had a good cry about it. And then he went his way, and I went mine.
I was the one.
But it was his appearance on the Milton Berle Show that changed the way people looked at Elvis Presley and rock and roll.
I want to tell you something. Incidentally, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think that I'm revealing any secrets when I say that that Elvis Presley is the fastest rising young singer in the entertainment industry today.
Some were outraged by what they saw as the blatant sexual content of Elvis's gyrating hips. Others were paranoid about Presley's voice.
We've set up a 20-man committee to do away with this vulgar, animalistic, nigger rock and roll bop.
Oh, my
Our
soul.
committee will check with the restaurant owners and the cafes to see what Presley records is on their machines, and then ask them to do away with them.
You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time.
Rock and roll has got to go.
No, it just all depends, I mean, on how you look at it. I guess if you want to think it's nasty or sexy, you could, but to me it's just,
Well, the two things are not necessarily the
yeah,
same.
well, you know, it's just so limber and loose. I mean, it's really marvelous.
Well, he just feels the rhythm. He digs it the most. You don't
Like
see
this
anything
guy.
wrong with it. No.
The obscenity and vulgarity of the rock and roll music is obviously a means by which the white man and his children can be driven to the level with a nigger.
Oh, my soul. And I guess all the people in the 40s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, all the people were born in that time period by immaculate conception.
Yeah, it irritates. You know, I understand that was the times and everything, but geez.
But the ignorance.
Pure, and just, I mean, arrogant, freaky pricks.
Stupidity. Yeah. Pure stupidity.
Obviously, nigger music.
In an attempt to head off criticism, Elvis agreed to perform his hit Hound Dog to an actual basset hound while wearing
No,
a
he
tuxedo on the Steve Allen
Oh,
Show.
you hated that?
He hated every minute of it.
Oh, he heard me.
I did the Steve Allen Show, and they had me dressed in a tuxedo on the Steve Allen Show and stand perfectly still. I couldn't move. I was standing like this, and had me singing to a dog, man. It was a dog here, you know. And I'm saying, you ain't nothing but a hound dog. And the dog's looking at me like, what are you doing, calling me names?
On CBS, The Ed Sullivan
That's
Show
all he
was
could do
ordered
was
to
laugh
film
about
Elvis only from the waist up to
pissed
avoid
back
touching
then.
off the same firestorm that the
what an
Burl Show
insult.
had caused.
To ourselves, we thought it was funny because those of us that had known him forever knew that that's what he did all the time. when he sat down, one of the first comments my mother made was, well, can he not be still? You know, because he was always just moving. So when people started to make a big deal out of it, we really thought it was funny, because it was like, hey, that's just him. He is not putting that on. So it was kind of then a shock for people to make references to Elvis the pelvis and that kind of thing, and try to make something off color about it, because he would have never in his wildest imagination done anything that would have been offensive to anybody.
You know, the stupid thing about that whole thing was the last show on TV that he did on Sullivan was the only show that they filmed him from the waist up. All the other appearances before on TV before that
were fools.
They didn't. Yeah, well, you know, a lot of on the slower songs they filmed them close up. And then on the movement songs, that on the faster upbeat songs, they would have shots of them. They'd come in and out, but they would have shots of them, full shots of them dancing. But I'll never understand why he just got through doing 15-something episodes between all the different shows, maybe more than that, and they decide on the very last one, hey, well, we're just going to film you from the waist up. It was
That's like doing a 3-hour TV special and going, don't watch the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
What about the name Elvis the Pelvis? I mean, it's one of the most childish expressions I've ever heard. I like to be called Elvis the Pelvis, but if they want to call me that, I mean, there's nothing I can do about it.
Soon after, Elvis became the nation's foremost celebrity and the unwitting recipient of an enormous outpouring of emotion from the youth of America.
What's that?
That Elvis-A-Z banner really wants to pop in there.
I know. Every time I go to go from comments over to the layers, it keeps popping up. Now, I deleted it a second ago, and I tell you what, this thing's freaking haunted today. Maybe I should never play that doll video again.
Though Elvis would remain unaware of his overall impact on the music business and popular culture, his newfound success gave him a chance to change his life in ways he had never imagined.
Welcome.
Presley's escalating income allowed him to fully develop the role of caretaker to his family, something he had already begun in a switch on the traditional roles of parent and child.
Elvis and his mother had a very special relationship.
You can see
There's
it,
something
though.
special about his son and his mom. And Elvis and his mother had that. He totally adored her, and she did him. But Elvis and Vernon, this is a hard question for me to answer. I guess it's the only way I can say this. Elvis was almost the father figure. I don't know that Vernon ever assumed his role as the father figure.
So right, Olga.
Not to say that Elvis didn't love him. He loved his father. But most of the decision-making and things of importance were mostly discussed between Elvis and Gladys. And I think a lot of that had to do from the time that Elvis got out of school. He contributed financially a lot of times more than Vernon did.
Elvis's dreams were coming true at an alarming rate, and, like any young man flush with fame and fortune, he indulged his love affair with that all-American institution, the automobile. Elvis bought a used car from a maker that would become almost synonymous with his own name, Cadillac.
Elvis buys his first Cadillac, and anyone that knows Elvis knows how much he loved cars. And this was his baby, his very first one. And he's just driving along with Scotty and Bill, and everything is cool. And then Elvis starts to see all these people around him, and he's thinking, oh, great, they recognize me. And he starts waving and so forth. And they're trying to get his attention for another reason. And then all of a sudden, Elvis starts smelling these fumes, and he realizes, hey, man, my car's on fire. And so it's either try to do something about saving the car or save the instruments. And so Elvis, Scotty, and Bill opted for saving the instruments. And of course, the car burned up on the side of the road. And Elvis, for about a month, he would walk around and just say, man, I love that car.
Even though Elvis's first experience with a dream car had ended in a less than storybook fashion, he purchased 2 more Cadillacs that same year. The first was a 1956 Eldorado that he had painted purple and drove as a symbol of his new title of the king of rock and roll.
Oh my God! Look at that car. Oh, that.
I still like the paint job on it, and you know the story that goes along with it's classic too. I mean, how many guys you know? The salesman gonna ask you what color you want, and you take a grape and you squish it and you go that color. I mean, really?
I can picture him saying that. It just sounds like it.
Yeah.
But look at that car. I mean, that purple. Isn't that got gold rims?
Yeah, just wax out. It just says,
man.
"Wow, boom."
Jesus, man.
With a white trim.
Anything Elvis did, my dad would kind of like do the same thing as far as, and he bought this. We had this Bonneville. He went out and bought this car. My mom didn't go with him. He come home. That freaking thing was purple. My mom had a fit. I ain't driving that thing around with 3 kids in the car in a purple car. He says, don't throw tomatoes at me as I drive by. My dad just started laughing. He says, well, I guess you're going to walk then.
The second was a 1955 Fleetwood that he had painted pink and gave to his mother, even though she had never learned to drive. The 55 Fleetwood would become the most famous Cadillac in the world, a dual symbol of rock and roll and a boy's devotion to his mother. It was the only car in his vast collection that Elvis never sold.
Oh, you're right, Duncan.
He also bought a Lincoln Continental Mark II, a car that was so scarce the dealer ran ads stating that if you saw one on the highway, there was a 1 in 2,000 chance it would be Elvis Presley at the wheel.
Until says he would have walked.
This was the car he was driving when he pulled into a gas station in late 1956. A group of girls gathered around the Lincoln, clamoring for autographs. As usual, Elvis was happy to oblige, but the gas station attendant was impatient and told Presley to leave. The young singer explained he'd only be a moment, but the angry attendant struck Elvis in the head, so Presley got out of the car and decked him. This landed Elvis in court, where the charges were eventually dropped.
The court finds insufficient evidence to support the charge.
Elvis also purchased his family's very first modern home on Audubon Drive in Memphis.
That thing's been run down.
It featured a pool and a carport where Elvis could park his ever-expanding collection of vehicles. There was also a small fence where he met freely with his fans once word got out that Elvis Presley had moved into the neighborhood. Gladys and Vernon Presley watched their son's meteoric rise to superstardom on a brand new television set in the living room of that very house.
Rock and roll stars today, you know, one of the first things you have to do when you become really successful, you got to buy your mom a house. It's just an unwritten rule in the rock and roll world. Elvis started that unwritten rule.
Elvis also indulged his other passion, clothing. But he continued to shop at the store that had provided him with his unique wardrobe from his high school days, Lansky Brothers on Beale Street.
We had a big tailor shop in the city of Memphis. I mean, one of the biggest. All your big guys started coming in right behind Elvis. They knew where Elvis was.
Oh, that's cool.
Elvis was our PR man. Anybody that saw him, they knew what he was wearing. They wanted the same thing. A lot of silk shirts, a lot of velour shirts that he was wearing, little old jackets with the lace on the pockets. Dynamite, man, really sharp. And everybody took one of them. Man, they liked it. Elvis was sharp.
As far as his clothing, you know, he continued to dress flashy, but more classy looking flashy, I guess you could say.
And he never lost that. He always had it.
Go to Lansky Brothers.
Yeah, and he bought from Lansky all the way up till he died.
He always had that. He had that something different.
He had his own style. I mean, people copied him. You know, the sunglasses. He got those sunglasses. Everybody was buying those sunglasses. My dad had a pair of those sunglasses. My dad about beat me when he found out I went to school with them on. Well, he didn't about beat. My dad never touched me, but he took away my stereo for a couple of days, and that was the worst.
So Bill Street
I'd rather him
nice,
beat
flashy,
me.
different looking stuff, and he was dynamite on stage. Very hypnotic. You couldn't take your eyes off of it.
But Elvis's popularity was growing too large to be contained by this small suburban neighborhood. it was time to find a new house suited to his new station in life. He would find that house in early 1957 and would keep the name given to it by its former owners. They called it Graceland.
Couldn't have gotten a better
By
name.
this time, he had also found himself a new steady girlfriend, one who would not feel out of place in the circles he now traveled. Local celebrity Anita Wood
Beautiful, man.
now became Elvis's main female companion.
I met Elvis in 1957. I was on Top 10 Dance Party on WHBQ radio television. And it was a popular dance show that they had every Saturday afternoon. The teenagers would come and dance, and he watched that show a lot. And one Saturday after the show, he wanted a date to see me that night. And to be honest with you, I really wasn't an Elvis fan at that time. And so this night, I got dressed and ready, and when they drove up in the Cadillac, they had a big, long, black Cadillac, and then Elvis started driving around, like we did many, many dates that we had, just drive around Memphis. And then Elvis said, would you like to come out and see Graceland? He just purchased Graceland at the time. And he proceeded to show me around, and he showed me all the rooms and took me and introduced me to his mother and dad. Then he began to try to get a little fresh with me. And I said, oh, no, that won't work. You know, you're going to have to take me home. So he said, okay. And he took me downstairs and took me home. He was a gentleman about it. He was very nice. But he did try to get fresh the first date, but he didn't get to first base.
Though Elvis demanded that she remain 100% faithful to him during their relationship, he himself indulged in yet another perk of his growing celebrity: feminine attention.
That's my man.
Ms. Presley, she wanted us to get married, and she wanted us to have a little boy and to name him Elvis Jr. And she said, I can just see him running up and down the driveway in his little bare feet, the little blonde-headed boy, you know. We talked about things like that a lot. I remember she telling me about Natalie Wood coming to visit there. And she didn't much like that. She would talk to me about how she hoped that, you know, we would end up together, that you're just the girl for him and you'll take care of him.
His career was now taking him away more than ever before, but now he was not simply touring. Elvis had become a movie star. During the next 2 years, Elvis would make 4 movies that would be considered some of his finest acting work. He would also further cement his life in Memphis, making himself more than just a celebrity who happened to call the city home. Every year at Christmas, in a ceremony that would become familiar to the denizens of the city, Elvis would hand out envelopes containing $1,000 apiece to various charities at the courthouse downtown. At the same time, he would spare no expense to decorate Graceland like a winter wonderland as his visual gift to his neighbors and fans.
That's interesting.
Memphis was it for him. It was the real deal. I could just see him. I could just see that relaxed atmosphere in him. And he would whispering under his breath to me, yeah, GK, Graceland will rock. Get some chicks out to the house tonight, you know, and stuff like that.
Whenever he wasn't in Hollywood, Elvis would come home to relax by taking friends and family to familiar places around his home. Though even at this early stage in his career, it was becoming more and more difficult for Elvis to enjoy his hometown like a normal person. Now, special arrangements would have to be made to accommodate Memphis's favorite son. If Elvis wanted to go to the fair or local amusement park, the entire park would be rented out.
He always invited his fans to go with. Sometimes we would go to the fairgrounds and he would rent it after hours, and we would stay all night long and ride everything as many times as we wanted to. Just have a wonderful time. That was a lot of all night long. Here I am getting so tired and sleeping. Elvis would all be ready to go.
For movies, the theater would be closed to all but Elvis and his invited guests. And if the newly crowned king of rock and roll wanted to shop, it would have to be done after hours when his hordes of fans had gone home. And it was in Memphis at Graceland during the holiday season that Presley would receive the letter that would change his life in ways no one, not even the Colonel, could foresee. Elvis Presley was ordered by the United States government to report for induction into the armed forces.
Because the Colonel had a
He
finger
did get
in the
his notice.
pie.
I'm sure he was not too happy. I mean, when you think you're the biggest star in the world at the time, and all of a sudden the Army says, hey, we want you. I mean, you can't feel too good, no matter what it is. I didn't feel good, and I was a nobody when I got drafted. I wasn't too happy about it at all.
You're still a nobody.
I can remember the day that Elvis received the draft notice, and he brought it into us, and Miss Presley and Mr. Presley and myself. And they just could not believe that he was going to have to leave them and go in the service. He really didn't want to leave his family. I mean, and nobody would want to. Elvis and Mrs. Presley were very close. She was devastated, scared, sad.
I never understand why they call it getting fresh. I think I consider more getting down and dirty, baby. There we go. Yeah. Hello, baby. Can I go to first base, please?
Congratulations, you are now in the Army. You're all private.
Max.
That's the way you'll be addressed from now on. Private Presley, you'll be in charge of the group.
Though it would have been easy for Elvis to get a special assignment in the Army to one of the military's entertainment units, making his stay in the Army one of performing and special privilege, he felt it was important that he be treated like any other soldier.
I've been advertising my channel to the
The
whole...
only special treatment he requested was that he be allowed to complete his latest picture before entering the service, so that, in his words, these folks will not lose so much money with all they have done so far. The government allowed the deferment, and King Creole was finished.
Gotta have that midnight show with a little bit
On
of
March 24th, 1958, Elvis left Graceland, kissed his mother and girlfriend goodbye, and reported to the induction center to be sworn in as a soldier in the United States Army.
He hugged me last, and the last thing he said to me was, "Little, I love you, and I will return, and don't forget me." It was hard, it was difficult, I could not, my heart was being just torn away, and it was very hard to see him leave.
From here on out, the king of rock and roll would be known as Private Elvis Aaron Presley, serial number 533-10761.
533-10761.
Take two.
Take two.
Damn, we made it all the way through without getting kicked. That's the trick to this thing. Got to upload it to the server and play it from there instead of trying to pull it from my computer and play it. But we got all the way through it. Very cool. That was a good one. Let's see, what's the next one's going to be? Let's see. We'll do that next. Yeah.
But how's the editing? Like no fade out or like oh, I guess it's because it's part of a series. It's like they just came in with a knife and cut it flat out. Boop.
Yeah, it's 1, 2, 3. There's 16 parts, an hour each. The next one is part 2, the television years. I thought we talked about the television years. Anyway, then after that we got two different episodes of the Hollywood years. The Army years. Wow, I guess they're going to bounce all over the place. This was released on the 25th anniversary of his passing. It's a pretty cool set. Damn thing, if you want to get it off of eBay, I don't think it's very easy to find, but if you want to buy the box set, it's like $500 off of eBay. Well, that's what they're asking for. I don't know what they're getting for it, but that wasn't bad. Let's see what they. Very cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, I like that one. So did it fit. Get that out of there. Remove it from the scene.
You know, I don't know if you have the same problem, but knowing what I know now about the Colonel and having my opinions about Joe, it's very hard for me now to watch these kind of things and still
Well,
not let what I know influence my
was it
watching experience.
yeah, the stuff that we've covered and we've talked about, it's just some of the there's images I can't get out of my mind, and we know what we're talking about on that,
Yeah.
and then we got yeah, just we've talked a lot about the little slimy snake he was, but then also too we're starting to get a little bit of understanding about his childhood. Just I went through the two books that were actually I'm kind of like going through three books at one time. I'm kind of pulling stuff out of the other two books when we do the Colonel bit because I want to get these books done. And today I'm going through all my PDFs and my books today. I'm trying to get them organized so I know what I got. I come across another freaking Colonel book I got. I'm like, holy written by some lady by May Man or something like that. And I know I read it years and years ago. So I'm just going to scan through. It's going to probably just be a basic type. Shit, sorry about that. Basic type of biography. But Goronic's book comes out in 4 weeks.
Wow.
So I want to be able to, because I've got the Kindle and the audiobook coming. So when I get that book, it's like 600 pages long. I want to bang that. Some of these words that I've come up with since I started it. I want to bang that book out really quick.
Yeah, and it's like when they say things like, "Oh, the colonel didn't know about what was going to happen," and then they start talking about him being drafted into the army. It's like, yeah, right.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's just been really irritating.
I know they didn't know it back then, but still, it's like.
But also too, it's really it's kind of really interesting. It's like today. I kind of I don't know if anybody wants to get on the subject much, but I got a couple of things that I just put up because I'm highlighting this, and let's go right here. There we go. All right, so in the book. Oh, you know what? Let's do this real quick. I know some of you will probably get bored with seeing this, but I've been having a little bit of fun with AI and stuff like that with Cam and I. So if you haven't, as everybody knows, Cam's, what do you call it? Signature saying is "Hey, hey, hey."
Hey, hey, hey! He even does the eye pop.
I know. So I've been playing.
Hi,
around.
my name is Cam. I'm a Blue Moon guy.
I like that.
Hi, my name is Rick. I'm a Blue Moon guy. I just laughing my ass off with that stuff. Sounds like we make good comments with good point. YouTube will crown you. Oh, Kathleen. Let's see. Let's catch up with some of these comments. I want to share a few things that kind of in from the book in the elephant in the room. Let's see, Susan. He handled himself so well in public, even though he was so nervous. He really knew how to carry himself in any situation. I agree with you on that, and I think some people don't. I knew a guy like, and I was kind of like this before until I really started doing a lot of public speaking with my job. But I used to be really scared to stand in front of people and say anything. In school, I always sat in the back of the room, but the teacher would call me. But I wound up skipping a couple of grades through school, so I got out of school pretty quick through high school and all that. But I was shy. I did not like going up in front of everybody and talking. And so when I got to my job, I had to do a lot of seminars and stuff like that. But, to the day he died, he still had that nervousness and fear of walking up there on stage. And that to me isn't a negative. It's how much he really cared for his fans. And I think that nervousness was
what drove him.
Am I going to be good tonight?
Yeah. Papa Green, let's hear the new word. Sorry.
What's that?
I just wanted to respond because I saw the question in the comments during the film, but I didn't want to jump in.
I thought, oh yeah, Yeah,
She wants to teach me a new word.
you're gonna teach him a new word. Okay, yeah, let him know what it is. Where's the best place to buy EPs music that is good quality sound? Are you? Um, do you mean
iTunes is pretty good.
the actual physical music, like albums and CDs and stuff like that, or downloadable stuff? Yeah, Susan, dead on. He was never arrogant. He was as real as can be. He never put on airs about anything. You know, he was. Yeah, he didn't feel the need to stand up there on stage like, look at me, look how good I am. He never did that.
Look at me, I'm Elvis Presley.
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
so many
today
of the stars today.
they've got to cover up their imperfections with all this gimmick stuff that they do. These
Yeah.
shows, these choreographed. Why the hell? I go to see somebody in concert. I don't want to see 40 dancers, in what was it, spandex clothing dancing around with them. I could give a shit about that. And I don't want to see them dressed up. I just want them to come out and give a performance,
Yeah.
unrehearsed show.
Yeah.
You go out there and you walk out there and say, okay, let's just see what happens tonight. It's like Cam and I, and I'm not comparing us to Elvis, but Cam and I, all the things we do for our channel, it's none of it's rehearsed. I mean, we have certain things that we plan for to talk about, but there's nothing like, hey, let's bring this up. Let's do this. We don't, he never knows what I'm going to bring up. He didn't even know about these little clips that I did today,
No.
with the baby doll. He didn't know it until we got online today. And so that's just the way it is. And that's the way Elvis was. And these stars today, and the people that I grew up with watching, they walked out there and they just rocked. They just came out there to play music and give you a good show with songs, bang them out. But when it got to the point, when I started getting really disappointed with shows, was with a band that I really, really liked, and it was ELO. And they came out there and they had this big old huge ship out there, and it rose up and lit, and they were all in there. Why? Do you need to do that because you're not good enough to give a regular show?
It's like the way I see it, the easiest way for me to
Oh wow.
describe it is like in Elvis's time, uh, when the fans went to the shows, he felt that the fans were doing him a favor by going to the shows.
Oh yeah.
Today, today it's reversed. The star
Oh
stands on the stage and he's like, "Yeah, I'm doing you guys a favor because I rocked up here."
well, did you
You
hear
know,
that one entertainer the other day? He made the remark, "If you're a conservative, I don't want you coming to my shows."
oh, but you'll spend my money?
Why would you do that?
No.
I've laughed my ass off if 75% of his fans were conservatives. It's just, I don't give a shit what your politics are, your religion, or any of that. I go out
Yeah.
there and I'm going to give a show, and it's not going to, they're too freaking political. Springsteen now goes up there and he gives his political speeches, and Mellencamp does that. And all these other bands, they seem to want to throw out their opinions of politics. No. Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, we got Olga online, guys. How you
Yeah,
doing?
I have to call you. I'm doing all right, Rick. I'm with wobbling. I'm a weeble wobble tonight.
Yeah, yeah. She had Cam. You didn't see it, but did you hear it, Cam?
Yeah, it's very low down though.
Very low. Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's better.
Okay. She had to have some. She had to go to the doctor. She had to have a little bit of minor surgery on her toe today. So I'm sure you're hobbling.
But, yeah. So I have a helper because when I got up to come to work and put my shoe on, I realized I wasn't running on all 8 cylinders. I slowed down.
Oh, okay.
So I got to work, and I said, you know what? They're going to have to get me a helper. I showed up to work. I did not call in, and I said I can do the job, but I need a helper to do the other half because you don't realize how much walking you do
Yeah.
until your toes are kind of jacked up.
Right.
So they found me a helper. So I've been busy training with him,
Oh,
and then my
perfect.
internet's going out, so I'm not able to catch the show tonight like I would
Oh.
like to.
Can
Oh,
your
too
internet
bad.
not
Or you
stable?
catch the replay. Yeah, we're having
Yeah,
fun.
so I'll watch it
The
when it
movie
gets
worked
on.
all the way through. It worked fine, and we just got to start. We're on talking about the difference between Elvis as an entertainer compared to the people. A lot of these acts out there today that have to do all these huge productions. You know.
Oh yeah. They don't have a lot of talent, so they're selling you
Yeah.
the visual stuff. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Overkill.
Yeah, yeah. It's too much. You know what I mean? Like, am I at a concert or I'm at a circus play?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I feel like I'm at a Broadway play. You
Exactly.
it's
Exactly.
crazy.
But
It's
I wanted to call in to say hi to Cam, you, and all the subscribers.
well, I appreciate that. Yeah,
Yeah.
we it's been a good night. I was concerned about having issues with the video playing again, and it worked all the way through, and it was a good one. So, um,
Oh, good. Yeah, I caught bits and pieces of it when that guy was talking about, saying the terrible N word and
oh
Elvis and
yeah,
that type of music. And I kind of commented as fast as I could. It probably came out wrong because,
yeah,
I'm trying to rush around to my phone. But anyway, I just gave up. I said, I'm just going to turn it off and catch it on replay. But I got too much going on tonight.
yeah. Well, that's
But
cool.
anyways,
We got plenty of other stuff coming up. So
yeah. But I'm just getting excited. I'm every day closer to Elvis Week.
yeah, it's not much longer. I was thinking about that today. Yeah,
And my little partner, I'm tuning. He's learning all about Elvis tonight, whether he likes it or not.
oh, hey, tough. Yeah,
We're talking about Elvis and everything.
yeah. Live with it. Live with it. Maybe you'll learn
Yeah,
something.
no, but he's cool. He's excited. He said, "You're just excited." I can't believe I'm going to this. That's what I told him. I said, "It's nothing like the Elvis community."
Right.
And he was like, "Really?" I said, "Yes." I said, "You just don't realize it until you start. You find your little spot and find your group of people. Everybody digging the same thing and sharing everything, and
Right.
so kind. You know.
Yeah. No,
So
we have a great. We say this all the time, and it can't be said too much.
I know it.
We just got a great a great community. Oh, you know what? Just thought of something too. Cat Girl's not with us tonight, is she?
No.
It's too late for her because she said in the last one that she was going to eat that she had emailed me, but I never got an email from her, so I got to reach out to her, find
Hi,
out.
Donna. Welcome.
Oh,
Anyway, that was just something I just now thought of while we were saying. But yeah,
oh,
we just got such a. Yeah, I mean, everybody. I mean, we're having fun here and talking, and there's nothing negative ever anymore.
yeah.
No,
No,
it's
I mean
perfect.
it's just a kick-ass group. There's just no other way to say it.
We
You know?
appreciate that. I get excited about it.
I
I
know.
wish I had 48 hours each day to do stuff because I would do a lot more. It's
I
just
know. Hey, but you do enough now with the midnight showings during the week, and then the
yeah.
trifecta on Saturday. I
I
mean,
love that. I got to come up with a graphic for that. The Elvis trifecta.
I know
I'll have to
exactly,
call Rich to have
exactly.
him. I'll have to call Rich to have him draw one up for me because he does good graphics.
Yeah. Pick his brain a little bit. See what he
Yeah,
comes up with. You know what
absolutely.
I mean?
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, I just wanted to call in and say hi,
Well, we
and I'll catch
appreciate it.
the rest of the show on replay.
Okay, thanks.
Absolutely.
All right.
Adios.
Okay, I'll talk to you soon.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. She's funny. We can always count on her calling in. Hey, listen,
Hmm.
anybody else wants to call in and chat, feel free to. So, but yeah, that's just my opinion on entertainers today. I mentioned Mellencamp and all that. He still gives great shows without all that, all that production stuff. But just stay away from the politics. John Fogerty's is great. He just goes out there and rock and rolls. And
But it's like I agree with you in a certain sense. I noticed that recently too. Um, Mellencamp's always been political. That's
hmm
and he's been like that from the start. That's how he is, and that's how people have
yeah,
become familiar with him. But a couple of weeks ago too, I read something scrolling by through something somewhere, and I also saw the same thing, and I was like, "What the hell is Springsteen also jumping on the political
oh
bandwagon now
yeah,
for?
yeah.
He's never been that way,
He's
never ever."
he's always done it just in his songs, and Mellencamp would do it in
Yeah,
his songs, and that's fine. And he
yeah,
wasn't as blatant as he is now. Back then he would just make a comment. It's like when the time come to vote, he would make the suggestion, why can't we just do a with the internet and everything? Why don't we just set it up where people could vote through the internet with proper ID and all that? And
yeah,
he would say, and that's fine. But when you start getting one side or the other, and you just start, bitching about it, you're insulting half your crowd.
yeah.
And so and that was the nice thing about Elvis. To this day, I mean, I could make an assumption, but to this day, I couldn't tell you what political party Elvis went for. I know he was a fan of John F. Kennedy, but as a person, but I don't know whether that was his leanings, and I don't care.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with his music, and I just wish people would just leave it go. But anyway,
It
people
makes
just
no
don't,
difference.
all these, like I said before, I took my daughter to see Taylor Swift and Justin Bieber and the Jonas Brothers and Miley Cyrus and all these shows when she was at that age to go to concerts. And they were all just these major productions. You got Justin Bieber flying through this place in this trapeze thing with playing the guitar, and you got Taylor Swift that, she's got all this production stuff, and it's just like, why? Just sing. Just get up there and sing. I'm here to hear you sing. Dance a little bit with a couple of people, or fool around with, or just joke around with the band or whatever. But every show's. Oh, I know what really got me was this bullshit routine that she did in her shows, where there was a pool underneath the stage and she would dive in it.
Oh
And come
yeah,
out the other. What the hell is that? Look at Kathleen says.
she knows you like a book already.
Are you only talking about one cup, Kathleen? That's actually it's style over substance. No, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's like nowadays they all focus on image, and the other thing is also once if they hear new artists and they see the image, then I've heard it so many times amongst people I know too, like, oh no, I don't like that person anymore. It's
Right.
like, okay, what difference does it make what the hell you look like? I mean, look at somebody like Mick Jagger. He don't look like an oil painting, but 60 years later, they're still doing it. Why? Because they have the talent.
And
Why should
he's had open heart surgery and all that stuff. He comes back a few months later. He's back out there on the freaking stage. The guy's as skinny as a freaking rail. He looks like bone with skin and nothing else.
yeah, I
But
mean, what
he
the
still gets out there and rocks. And Keith Richards, I think I think he probably taught guitar to Moses. He's so freaking old. He looks like but he gets out there and that's all they do. They have some theatric stuff and like that with that big old doll that stands up there, honky tonk woman. That's cool. I can deal with that.
no, but
It's
it's
just
not overdone.
it's not overdone. It's just kind of like, oh, that's cool. Or when they do some of the pyrotechnics, they shoot off flames or something like on certain songs. But when you're flying, anyway, you're flying through the air. It's just,
You go to a Taylor Swift show, it looks like you're going to Cirque du Soleil.
it means that to me, it's telling me, yeah, what was it Duncan said a little bit ago? You're not comfortable with your talent, so you gotta cover it
Yeah,
up.
you got to
You
compromise.
gotta distract from the fact that you can't frickin' sing. And I mentioned this to you guys before, and I hope somebody's looked it up. Maybe I'll find a link and put it in the description of when Taylor Swift sang a song with Stevie Nicks. I'm gonna take the conversation for a second. I'm gonna find this video.
Okay, where must I take it to?
I
Oh.
don't know. Trust me, you have no problem talking. So
No, I guess not. No, but it's true what you say. I mean, it's like I see these guys, and that's probably why most of the music today I don't like it because it's not focused on the music anymore. It's all about a visual thing. I mean, if I want to go see a visual thing when I'm going to a concert, I'm going to watch TV. If I go to a concert to hear some band play or an artist play, I'm going there to listen. I couldn't care less about whether the person's sitting there in their pajamas or sitting there in a leather suit with half of the ocean on the stage around them and a fire and all the rest. Just do your thing. Do your thing.
yeah.
You
Well, there's
don't.
a bunch of videos out there, but I don't have time to find out what the song was. I think it's "Landslide" that they do together. But anyway, it's I guess I'm just spoiled with talent. Of seeing people with.
Now,
It's like when I went to go see the Eagles. What freaking harmony they had, man! Just to see them live was great. And Elton John, I saw him twice, and back before back when he was moving around and jumping around the stage and doing good shows before he started getting into Broadway music and
hey, Mr. Michael. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
wow, Michael Riker. Hello, my friend. It's good to see you.
Long time no see.
Yeah, we've been having. Well, you know what? I'm gonna. I don't know if I'll spoil the conversation, but here, let's do this. Let's go back over the book club. So the couple things I just kind of highlighted off that book we done last week. I started talking a little bit. These are bad pictures of the. I don't have it on PDF, but I so I snapped some pictures on my scanner on my phone. Unfortunately, you see my shadow on it a little bit, so I'll see if this brings up anything. Oh, that's terrible. How am I going to read that shit? Hell with it. I'll save it for another day. Anyway, there's still some pretty cool stuff I'm coming up with Parker. We're about done with him, and then we're gonna do the pinnacle of debauchery and cover Priscilla Presley's new book, and we're gonna do that in hold on a second. We're gonna do that in less sessions than Parker. I think Parker's, you know, I think Parker is more of an intriguing character to me than Priscilla. Priscilla's going to be one that I'm probably going to get more pissed off about her books than I did about the Colonel. So I
Yeah.
have gotten some pretty pissed off. But you know, it's just he's an intriguing character. We like him, love him, hate him, whatever. To read his life is a movie.
Yeah.
The guy
I'm
came over here 3 times on a ship to get over to America. He came over here 3 times. He came over here, and then there's a picture of his passport in this one book that just came out from the Netherlands, and he came here into this country with a Netherlands passport into New Jersey, I believe it was. This is stuff like I'm blown away by, and it talks about what he was. I could really go off on this thing. So Todd Slaughter read a great book. He knew a lot of people that knew Parker, and I trust. To me, I trust what he says because I've read some of his other books, and I've been very assured that pretty much what he says in the book. He's relying upon the stories that he's told by the people, but he names all the people, and they're all connected to Parker. Of course, Joe Esposito's name's in there, but anyway, but evidently, when Parker was a child, he was sexually abused by a relative
Oh, that
over
would
a period
explain.
of time. Well, that would explain a lot of stuff.
That would explain his inability to connect to people on an emotional level.
Exactly. So and I just caught to that little part today because I was just kind of highlighting the book for tonight in case we didn't have the video go through. but we still going to wind up talking about some stuff anyway. But I just find him really intriguing, and the fact that I'm getting more of a dislike for him doesn't take away from the fact that it's like going to watch, you know, it's like some people that love to go watch horror movies. They just thrive on it to go see these horror movies. I don't like movies like Saw and all that. I think it's just, you know, movies aren't like they used to be, Psycho, and they're not like Exorcist and all that. There's more suspense than there is, people pouring out 5-gallon buckets of blood all over the place. It's just the blood and gore stuff is just ridiculous. I don't take those. I can't like. I could never get into The Walking Dead because to me it was just too brutal. Um, but that's just me. But his stories to me, it's just intriguing. I'm fascinated with it all. I gotta tell you, I'm going to see if I can share this with you. Let me open this up. I'm going to show you. This is just my PDF file of the books I have on PDF. I was cleaning them up today, and I'm going to share this list with you. I cleaned up my all my other drives and I put them all in one folder because I did a scan of all PDFs, and I'm sitting there. I need to put that in the folder. So, hang on there, guys. Hang on to your giblets. I'm going to show you my share screen. Watch me get kicked off now. Window. Okay. Share. All right. So, I'm going to add this thing. It's going to show up on the whole screen. So, okay. So this is the folder right here. Let me go through it. All right. So starting with this book is that showing the picture here? No, it's not.
No.
Okay, I can't do it. So I got that. I'll just go down. This is an excerpt from Doris Hart's book that I scanned. But Dewey, I mean, these are all Elvis books. Everyone's different. This is not even what I have on Kindle or audiobooks or physical books. I have books like a couple in here that are Elton John and Anne Margaret's books because I pull highlights out of them. And there's a few others that are about, like the Billboard Book of Number Ones. I pull out features about Elvis in there. I want to look at this. It's still going.
Jeez.
I know. And I'm sitting there thinking, there's no way I'm going to ever get through all these. Of course, it's got like Elvis, What Happened, a few other books that, that are sitting there. I don't know why I hold on to it, but, I'm just one of those people that just like hate to throw things away.
You don't say.
I know. Let's see. Hey, how many people out there telling me I'm nuts? Some whores I can watch. Yeah, so that's I and there's a lot of Colonel books, and there's really some really good, interesting books. Kind of around. They study his music. They give you some history about the songs. Some of the songs. I've got the one Writing for the King that I really want to start making some little videos about. It's a really good book. It's just more books than songs. You're pretty damn near right. Yeah. Hope to have Jamie and John on my channel this season. Jamie and John? I don't know who those are. Yeah, I can't watch scary movies. They're just so gory. I like thrillers, suspenseful. If somebody pops out and makes you piss your pants. So I got of course I got the Kindle, but anyway, I sidetracked. So we're gonna do Priscilla. As soon as that book comes out in September, I'm going to highlight Elvis and Me, highlight stuff out of there. I'm going to highlight stuff out of her new book, and I'm going to. Wasn't there another book? Elvis and Me, the Priscilla. Wasn't there 3 books for her? Oh, I was going to take Lisa's book too, do a comparison because I think her new book is only coming out in order to refute a lot of the stuff that it just happened. It just happened that she writes a book shortly after that book comes out. The announcement didn't come out until
Yeah.
afterwards,
Yeah.
and she's got. I would imagine she's got a ghostwriter because I'd be surprised if she can actually grammatically write a sentence. You know. Anyway, I can get nasty. NCIS, I love that show. I don't watch much. I like the Criminal Minds too. The new season on that's been pretty good. But I'll tell you one series that I've been watched and been on top of. All these other shows I've just kind of pulled away from because after 18, 19, 20 years, it's almost like the same story over and over again. And since I've started this channel, I don't turn the TV on much anymore because I get caught up in them, and then there's other stuff I want to do. I prefer to do stuff for you guys for this channel. I want to keep it fresh, change things up, chat with you guys. If I could, I would chat with you guys every single day if I had the ability to do that. Well, I do have the ability to do that. I don't know if I had the physical strength to do that every single day. I would be a zombie who weeble wobbles all around the place. Have you looked? Yeah, I've got that book. Wait a minute. Have you looked up about There's Good Rock in the Night? We did Crying in the Chapel last week. Have I told you lately I love you? I have that one. They have all that. So I'm going to be doing that in the next couple of weeks. Probably next week.
Kathleen's on the right track, yo.
Adios, goodbye, good night, good morning. Okay, I need a large cappuccino. Are you telling me I need to go? Go dip to your spa, Kath. I'm kind of lost the conversation there.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So this week's Inside the Studio, we have a special guest. You all know him, but I'm not going to tell you. You'll know when I put the announcement out, or should I surprise it during the Inside the Studio? But anyway,
no, leave it.
The songs are "If I Can Dream." It's Memphis, Tennessee, and it's "There's Always Me." Somebody made a request for "There's Always Me." We're not doing American Sound this week. We're doing those three because those are the songs that he requested.
Wow. Okay.
There's Always Me is a request from somebody else, but they've requested. These are the two he wanted to do. So we're going to do those, and then next week I'll get back to American Sound, and I'm going to do Have I Told You Lately I Love You in there.
No.
Huh?
You said, have you told me lately that you love me? No.
Are you effing kidding me?
There you go, Kathleen. I stumped him.
You stumped me. How's that? There's my response. I've been kind of corny all day long. So we got a bunch of new people. We got to share some of my new little video clips. Let's go back to here. I know. So I don't know if you saw. We started with our insight. I'm excited about doing this after I did this one. So we've been talking, even when Rich was with us, we kept talking about all the outtakes that we have when we talk, because there's so much stuff I edit out that's just hilarious, but it just doesn't fit it stretches out the thing. So I said, well, I'll start doing bloopers. So this morning I'm sitting there thinking, I was kind of a little bit bored because Cam and I pretty much don't do anything as far as any kind of production wise on Monday and Tuesday because we got to get up ready for tonight. So I thought, well, let me go ahead and make one of the bloopers. So if you haven't seen this, here you go. I put it on my YouTube. I've got quite a few views. So if you're ready, here we go.
All right. So, yeah. Where's my twinkle? Okay, that's good. Okay, stop. Oh, you know what? Let's start off with.
Are you effing kidding me?
I can't help but laugh.
Yeah, you hit the twinkle and then you hit the blue moon ball.
I think I'll do that. Hit the twinkle. hit the disclaimer.
This is another public service announcement brought to you by the Blue Moon Guys.
Oh, that's gotta be for the chats. Yeah, well, I'll go from the twinkle.
Are you effing kidding me?
And I'll go boom.
These guys are going to think we're smoking something every week.
Exactly.
But then I gotta go.
Maybe stop
Boom.
Sorry, guys.
We're trying to not laugh.
Oh, I ate lunch just before we did this.
Look
I had me a sandwich.
Dick,
Everything
where you
was
said,
gonna be gone.
too
Nice and
many
relaxed.
gummies there, Rick.
Okay.
Oh shit! I was laughing so hard, and I thought, and I recorded it all just regular. And I thought, oh, I gotta put some effects to this. So I sped it up to where we sound like Minnie and Mickey, and then I put some effects on the thing. And I swear to God, I was in here laughing so freaking hard I couldn't get it done. And then yeah, but here's the worst part. I saved it, and I couldn't find where I saved it. I had to re-render it again. I thought, where did I put that freaking thing? Oh, I was laughing so hard.
And no shit, guys, it took us 7 minutes. We literally had like six shots that are okay, we're done.
I know.
And then Rick would start talking and I'd lose it, and then I'd compose myself, and then he'd just look at me and then start laughing. We literally took almost like 10 minutes before we finally could carry on with the show.
We do, Kathleen. We laugh. We just, everything's just natural what we do. And like he just said, that what you saw was only a minute. It took us, like he said, 5 minutes to finally freaking stop laughing. It was so, we were just, I can't tell you right now what we got started laughing about.
We had to do
I think it was the are you effing kidding me or something like that. It was just the whole process.
We had to do this eventually and try, but it didn't work.
So now you've all seen the new AI stuff where they take famous people or whatever, and they turn them into little babies. It's the same voice and all. So I thought, okay, I got to do that. I got to figure out how to do that. So here we go. Here's Cam.
Hi, my name is Cam. I'm a Blue Moon guy.
Hi, my name is Rick. I'm a Blue Moon guy. And then the best of all.
I love that.
So, in answer to your question, I don't take gummies, but I might need to. Shit, we do. We have too much fun doing this. I mean, it's the same thing with this. And this I can't cut it out because it's live.
I mean, we had that same kind of situation when Renee was doing inside the studio with us. We spent like the first hour and 10 minutes. We were like 45 minutes into it, and we were like, "Oh shit, we still have inside the studio to do here."
I know. Yeah, Kathleen likes the little voice saying, "Hey, hey, hey." Yeah, it's amazing what you can do with AI and all that stuff. Yeah, so, and my voice and his voice were cloned. I cloned them. Now, Cam, I've got to get a little bit more of a recording to clone his, but mine, I mean, it's almost dead on. It sounds just like me talking. It's pretty cool, but we had so much fun with that. So that's what we do during the day. And, but yeah, I could do this all the time. I'll always, and some stuff, I don't know. I've been popping out more of the little short videos, and I've been getting some major reactions. And the short videos are what's bringing people in to see what we do on the live streams. It's really cool because in the last 28 days now, which blows me away, I've gained 1,000 subscribers just off of those short videos. One short video brought me 500 new subscribers. Well, it was 400. And I'm getting one of them. I got 250,000 views on it just 3 weeks ago. I put it out. It's just like I thought, wow. So I'm doing that. I see new people with us all the time.
1,000 new people in less than 30 days. That's wild.
I know. It took me 6 months to get to my first 1,000. Here I've gained almost a 1,000. Let me see where I'm at now. I'll tell you real quick. What I gained in the last 936 new subscribers in the last 28 days. I think you all remember just a few weeks ago I said we just passed 24,000. Well, we're halfway from there to 25,000 already.
Wow.
And I'm going to do a couple giveaways during that.
Wow.
So I mean, it's fun, and but I don't do it for. It's not what I do it for, but it shows that what we're doing has got to be right or something, and entertaining people because we're getting some really, other than some of the trolls out there that leave comments on things, but we get great feedback from you guys, and you guys just give us so much. Tell us how much you enjoy it. And that's what makes it for us. I can't wait till Saturday gets here. I can't wait to any of these shows till we get to them. It's like they can't get here fast enough. Saturday I love. We start off with the book chat, which we have to stop it because we're getting ready to do the inside the studio. But and then we do that, and then we do the movie watch at night. And now I'm going to start doing the Discord during the week sometime. I don't know when, and we're going to keep everything at that because I don't want to. We'll overextend ourselves and we'll just fade away. I'll fade away. So in between, I'll just be, I'll plan things. But our test run on Discord went pretty well the other day. We had to work out a couple of kinks at the beginning. So I'm really going to get in that because I have a lot of the things that will be allowed on YouTube. You saw what I have in books. You could times that by 10 what I have on videos that I can't put on YouTube. For example, I have every one of the video outtakes from the 68 special. And plus I got the 68 special. And I have the actual complete broadcast version of the 68 special with the exact same commercials they ran that night. From beginning to end, it's the full 60-minute show that they ran that night with the exact same commercials. And I've got that, and I've got Aloha from Hawaii. We can run that. We can, I could play the recordings that he did after the main show when he did Early Morning Rain and all that, where they added in for the replay of the show. And that's just the beginning. I got all those concert outtakes that people bump off of YouTube claiming they own rights to it, So I have thousands of hours of Elvis video outtakes of that stuff. And it'd be cool to be able to sit there and watch it because I know a lot of people don't have them and have never seen them. So I just want to share all that stuff with everybody. I love the conversations talking about it. So I hope you guys, would join us on that. Like I said, down in the link, it's already down there. In the link is the invite to our server on Discord. So join it if you want to, get notification when we do this. I don't expect everybody to come to everyone because it's we'll have to do it at different times so that other people can make it. But this right here, if you want to scan it. It'll take you right to the server immediately and join it. That's all you got to do. And if you don't want the notifications, you just exit it for a while or turn off the notifications. But great conversations we have, and everybody chats, and it's a great thing. And we can do phone calls from there. We can do video chats. We can do audio while we're watching the movie. We can talk a little bit back. It's freaking awesome. So if you guys want to join it, just, scan that or go down to the link in the description after this is over. Now, the live ones, you have different tabs at the top for my videos. You have shorts, you have videos, and you have live. So this will be in the live part. So just go to the description, and it's got the link. So go to that if you want to join Discord. We would love to have you. I've already got up to, I just started it like 2 weeks ago, and I've already got up to, let's see, what do I got? Man, I've already got 21 people that have joined us in the last 2 weeks. So that's really cool. So if you want to join us. I'd love to have you all. We can have some fun. Um, Very non-intrusive, on your phone or however you want to watch. So I hope everybody enjoyed the movie. I did. I'm excited about doing the rest of the shows. We'll do one tonight. I think I'm going to keep the definitive ones on this night, and then I want to do different ones on Saturday night.
Saturday.
Yeah, on Saturday we'll do other stuff. Um, I think yeah. We see we got a great group already in there. The other day during the coffee date, we had 4 or 5 people pop in during the show when I announced it. So, no idea, Helen. Let's see where our comments. We've been oh shit. We've already got 2 hours and 10 minutes. Kathleen's right. Did we lose Kathleen, or is she making coffee for everybody?
Yeah, I think she's making coffee.
Dinner for you. I think it's ridiculous. I'm reading backwards. I should go the other way. Mork, better mork than dork. Yeah, gummies. Can't. I like the little boy saying, "Yeah." Purple Green's still here. Keep doing the short videos. I can't help looking at those for hours. Yeah, I do. I try to put out a couple a day. I got a whole slew of them already ready to go out. Those only take me. Those take me about 5 minutes to create. I just take some clips and put them in there, or download some clips that other people shared and have put up, and I kind of tweak them a little bit, clean them up, and because I hate the ones that where people put the freaking captions going across the bottom. It just interferes with, or they want to claim they don't want anybody to use their video, so they put all these graphics and everything over the whole video, and you can't even hardly see the video. So I just go to YouTube and find the video that they took it from, and I screw them. I don't care. People want to use my videos to share. They got there's an option for me when I put up the short videos to say, will I allow other people to remix them? I don't care. I don't own the videos.
Duncan needs a hand with a Discord.
Duncan needs okay. If your Discord invite in the description, I couldn't. Is your okay? Let me see. It should be.
Throw it in the chat.
Oh yeah, very good. Here, I'm gonna put it in the chat here, Duncan. Hold on. I could have sworn I put it in there. I'm a dumbass. Yeah, I know. Okay, copy. Okay, so I'm putting in the comment right here, and there it is right there. And I'm going to take a look at the description here. More. Damn, am I a dumbass? Yeah, it's not in there. I forgot to put it in there. Sorry.
Thank you, Duncan.
Shit. Okay, I'll have it in there after the video's done. I can't put it in there now. Or maybe I can. Hold on.
Yeah.
I can put it in there. Okay, so Discord invite. All right, well, it's in the description now. I put in there about checking out Kyle's page, and right below that is the Discord invite. So now it's in there. Okay, so I just got a beep, so that means somebody's in there probably. That. And there's Duncan. Okay, I got you. I just waved back. Thanks, Duncan. All right, guys. I've had fun. Great movie. Anybody else got any other thoughts? I couldn't have my coffee tonight because I ran out of creamer again, and I'm not putting butter in there no more. It wasn't really that good.
Done for you once a hey.
Okay, you want the hey yours or? Oh, go ahead. Give him the whole hey. Go for it.
I don't know where it is. I can't find it. I look.
Oh, you want that one? You want the baby one?
Yeah.
Okay, go to the layers.
Yeah.
Okay, scroll down and it says hey. It's about 6 down. Are you in the, okay, and just click on that little eye.
Oh, that is.
Kathleen, oh, Kathleen says, I have plenty of K cups. I'll FedEx it to you, Rick. My wife want to know, why the hell are you getting coffee from other women? So keep me. Oh, yeah, I can't say that. That wouldn't come out right. I got to be careful. I already said made one mistake. I don't. I have a really bad habit of speaking before I think about what I'm getting ready to say. It's just, and I mean nothing derogatory or nasty or anything about it. It's just me. I just feel. Um,
Yeah, it's like in the beginning when Kathleen started with the banging out. The
I
first two
know.
or three times you wouldn't say it, and now you're saying it, and it's like.
I say it all the time. It's part of my speech now. Yeah, let's bang this one out.
Thanks, Laurie. I'm kind of glad Rick hit that up in a video because it takes a toll on my vocal cords. But thanks,
Takes a
thanks for
toll on my ears.
thanks for the vocal, thanks for the compliment. Because I was saying to Rick the other day, I'm kind of feeling like it's getting stale now. But if you
Yeah.
say no, it doesn't get old.
Now there's certain times we pop it in there, but I like it with the little baby. It's pretty cool because it
Yeah.
works. The AI is pretty good on stuff like this. I'm not a real big fan of it of making an AI Elvis and stuff like that. I just don't. It doesn't. It's
No,
not real to me. But
it looks
this stuff
plastic.
like this, it's just another form of video graphics that we've always done. They've been putting, effects in movies since they started making them, and it's just upgraded stuff, and it's so cool what I could do with Cam's the one that kind of turned me on a chat GPT, and it gives me some ideas for making some videos because I'll put in there like, say I want, okay, here's the example. I've got the book Writing for the King. It's about different songwriters that wrote for Elvis. It's a really good book. And then it came with a couple of CDs where it's got some of the demo records of those songs. For example, the first one is with Mae Axton. It's her talking about the song, who wrote Heartbreak Hotel, and it tells the story about it. But it's like 2.5 pages of stuff, and I don't want to be making. The key is not having these really long videos and things like that. Stuff that like Cam and I do was inside the studio. People get more involved with like that, and the same thing with the chat. So what I do is the chat GBT will find the book. They can find some of the books. You can say, I want you to give me a quick overview of chapter 1 of this book. 3 minutes later, it gives me this whole breakdown. It's almost like a Cliff Notes. It takes
I
two.
love ChatGPT.
Yeah, it's wild. These pictures of you and me as a baby were taken. I screenshot you and I out of the studio. I took it as our pictures. Then I put mine in there, and I said convert to a baby, and it did. It's got my hat on. It's got my headphones. Yours has got your background on it and everything. It was just like whoa, and it did it like in 2 minutes. And then I figured out. This video showed me. The video was only 3 minutes long. Showed me how to make them talk to an MP3 file. Well, all I did was cut out the. I used the clone voices for "Hello, I'm Rick" and all that, but the part "Hey, hey, hey" is from inside the studio. I just took out the MP3 of it, put it in there, and there it was. And you got to tell it to make facial expressions and all that stuff. It's fun. Hey, thanks, Kathleen. Yeah, we have. There's so many. I got an email the other day, and she's from the Netherlands, and I've never seen her. Her name doesn't look familiar. Of course, in the emails, it's not their name on the channel on YouTube.
No.
Some people go under different things. So anyway, I got this email, and she says, "Wonderful video. I loved it." And she saw the video I put up there 2 years ago, and what it is it's that part at the Aloha from Hawaii when after the show he went and stayed there, and they recorded him. They had him record, to Hawaii, and they recorded "Early Morning Rain," a Hawaiian wedding song, and it's all the outtakes of it. It's like 20 minutes long, 20, 30 minutes long. It's every take one, take two, take three, all that. And it's a great video because you see Elvis, he's just got through being globally broadcast, done an hour show, sweated his ass off, and now he's in the studio. Well, he's still there, recording, doing some takes. And you can see he's a little tired, but he's still giving, his full, what he can do. He gave it all, and like he always did. And it was nice for somebody to send me an email like that I've never heard from before. And I think she decided she didn't want to leave a comment in there. She'd rather get it straight to me. I love that stuff. I have one, two. Let me think. I have 8 different people, subscribers, that I communicate sometimes by email. They'll send me a suggestion or this and that. I have one person that only communicates. She's never on. She watches stuff online, but she won't comment and chat. She sends me an email, or she'll find something. Check this out. Have you seen this? You might like this. I love that stuff, man. All it does is tells you that what you're doing something right. I don't. I got hate mail from one guy a couple of years ago that turned it. I'm not going to go into details, but that thing evolved so badly. The email he sent me was almost like a death threat about something. I can't even remember what it was about. It was so stupid. And he threatened me, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, I got my freaking address listed in here. Why did I do that? So I immediately took it out, and I still got emails from him, and I sent him a cease and desist email, and he still kept going. I mean, this guy was just getting nasty. I know where you live and all that. And he probably did because he found it in the description. But anyways, I have a relative that works in law enforcement, and he happens to work, and I happen to figure out where this guy was from because there was something he said in one of his emails that let me know that he was in Tennessee. And so I have a relative, a second cousin, who works in the Tennessee. It's what do they call it? TBI, Tennessee Bureau of Investigations, like the FBI but for the state. He's been there. He's retired now. So I called him and told him it was gone. He says, "All right." He says, "I'll make some calls and all that. Figure what's going on." I never heard from the guy again for a long time, and finally he called me one day and he said, "Rick, we wound up having to put him in jail for something else. He was selling meth out of his house."
Wow.
So so on a call about me, they went in there and found out he was a meth dealer. I'm like, oh my god! So
Wow.
that's the only issue I've ever had, outside just the stupid comments on the trolls that hide behind. But anybody wants to email me if you have any suggestions. Just want to, I don't know, shoot the shit. I don't care. I have a few that call me on the phone. I'll talk to anybody. If I can't answer the phone, leave a message. I'll call you right back. I love sitting there talking about Elvis or whatever's going on. It's just I've said this before. This is all I do. I mean, before I started doing this, I just sat and watched freaking TV, and I hated it. I was losing my sanity. And between Cam and you guys, I have such an excitement for doing this. So thank you, everybody. I really do appreciate it. I can't. When I say I love you guys, I do. I love what you do for us. I love the support, the laughter, and that's I can't say anymore. Anyway, this has been fun. Great movie. Great.
Yeah.
I thought it was a great. I've seen parts of it before. We'll see stuff that we've seen before. We'll see Joe pop his little head out like a groundhog. Groundhog. I'm on to animals tonight, aren't I? Groundhogs, beavers, and all that stuff. So stupid. I'm getting tired. Trust me, I've had nothing to drink. I haven't even had my coffee. That's ginger ale. Sea Cat, thank you. This is Helen. Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Helen.
Yeah. Anyway, I cannot say any more about how excited I am about Elvis Week. You guys, we got so much planned, and you guys are. I'm going to give so much head ups about it because we're going to do a live feed on Vigil Night if we could get into the camera at Graceland. We're going to do a live feed. We'll just kind of talk, and we won't put our faces on the screen. We might put them in little tiny boxes somewhere. But we're going, we want to watch that, and so you guys can join us and watch it. And, I'm just going to leave it on, let it run, and if we're not on there, we'll just put a little message. We've taken a break, going to eat or whatever. But I'm going to leave it on a constant live feed. But we'll come back and then the next day during the ceremonies, whatever they have, we're going to video. We're going to go live too. We're going to be doing a lot of pop-up lives. So Olga is running the show. She's gonna be down there, and she's going to. I made pretty cool press passes for her, so we're hoping that she can get into some places with those passes. It's official Elvis A to Z passes with her pictures on it, and so she's going to all kinds of different events, and I'm psyched, so psyched about it all. So we'll do pop-up. She'll call me in the morning, possibly, or whenever she wants to do it, and say, this is what I'm doing today. I'm going to do it around this time. So I'll put out a notification, especially on Discord and WhatsApp, saying, hey, this is possibly going to come up today. Be ready for the notification, and I'll do it in Discord, and of course the other notifications. So you can join us. She's going to broadcast, and I think it's going to be different. I've never seen anybody do this on YouTube. I've never known of any other channel that's done this to this extent. I mean, they broadcast the vigil and all that, but to have a person of a Elvis Week on the scene reporter from Elvis A-Z News. Hey, that's a cool thing. I'll call Rich, see if he can make us a graphic.
Yeah.
They're also virtual Elvis Week. Graceland Cam has a chat on their site. I saw that. Oh, cool. Anyway, I'm excited about that. That's one, two, three, four. That's less than 4 weeks away. Gronic's book comes out in 4 weeks. Priscilla's book comes out in 2 months.
Yay.
But and in between, we mentioned this on Sunday too. We're going to change the format a little bit. What the heck is that? That's a freaking bug. Landed on my lip. You dead now. All right, so we talked about it on the Sunday show. I think everybody really enjoys the book chats and just chatting. So I'm gonna thin out a little bit of the big features. I still want to do, some of the other small features. I'm still going to do a little bit of news, maybe throw one trivia thing in there, and that's it. And then, and if there's something really special on this day, then I'll do it this day. But I'm not gonna just pull out just little things here and there, because I'd rather just focus. It's like for Elvis Week, just whatever happened. So we're gonna back off on that so we can spend more time on the book chat. And there was a lot of people that said, yeah, that's a good idea. We'd like to do that. So gets more people involved, because I really want. And Saturday too. Was it this Saturday or last Saturday? Was your birthday? I mean, Sunday, last Sunday.
Last Sunday. No, not Sunday gone. Sunday before.
Yeah. So we had a lot of people calling in. Oh no, it was this Sunday when the announcement came about Leslie closing the foundation. Several people called in, and I really want to encourage people to. You could chat just for a minute or two, throw in some comments, whatever you want to do, or just whatever we're talking about. But feel free to call us anytime you want to. You have anything else, Cam?
Now, other than the regular weekly and daily thank yous, there's nothing particularly pressing me now. No.
I'll have to email you again at Elvis-A-Z. You have the email address. Um, Let me find it here. I think I got it in here. This is my email address right there for all of you. And I'm going to put in all Elvis A to Z at. I got to get my light charged up. Gmail. Okay, so this is in the comments right there. So if you want to cut and paste that and save it, it's also in the description. I know that that's in the description. And like I said, email anytime. True, Helen. Other channels join in at times. Everyone has their own knowledge, and we learn from them. Rick and Cam know the music, vocals, instruments, etc. In the studio is awesome with them. Well, thank you, C Cat.
Thank you, Sika.
I love doing it. I learned somewhat. I hear things. Cam's heard songs that he's never heard before,
Yeah.
and then I hear versions of these songs that I really like. I've been making playlists of like the alternate takes of certain songs that I could just play. So, anyways, just check out. It's if you can't make it on Saturday with the chat, it's on a replay. Just watch them. You'll love them. They did block a few of them. I've been getting them unblocked because I filed a claim. What is the stupidest thing that they blocked for? So at the beginning, if you ever watch the videos at the beginning, I used to have this audio part that says this is an Elvis production, and there was another part that I put in there. Was they didn't know where that was. They couldn't find any metadata, so they blocked it. So I just responded and say, it's mine. I made that. I'm the one that created that. It belongs to nobody but me. And then they've unblocked them. So I've got a couple more. They did it on all the inside the studio. So I've got about half of them unblocked. So once I make the claim or dispute the claim, 48 hours later they'll unblock it, and then 30 days, whoever just it goes for, whoever they're going to say has the claim on it, which they never tell me who it is, they have 30 days to respond, and the claim goes completely away. Well, nobody's responded because there's nobody out there to do it. So, all right, purple green, more than I'm too intimidated to comment in the first place. Helen. Yeah, no, yeah, I can understand that, but there's some channels that will humiliate you or just come back with. Yeah, I've got to be honest with you. There's some people that leave nasty. I've shared them that leave nasty comments about Elvis. Oh, he's stoned here, or he, they make fun of his jumpsuits and stuff like that. And I come back with little snarky remarks. If you want to come with that, but if people are making comments that are different than opinion, I'm not gonna. It's ridiculous. Everybody's got a right to the opinion, and you know what? I learned by finding out a lot of the opinions that people have are right compared to my opinion. And I've always been open-minded. I'm firm in what I believe until somebody shows me the receipts to prove I'm wrong. I mean, I'll give you one example we've done on this show. The Ed Sullivan Show. When he sang Peace of the Valley on the last show. For years, for my entire life that I knew about him doing that, I always believed, I'd always read that he did that song for his mother. It was his choice to do the song, and people said, but CBS is not wanting you to do it, or whatever channel he was on. They don't want you to do a gospel song. Well, if you've ever watched The Gates of Graceland with Angie Marchese, who's in charge of the archives, she did a video about the Ed Sullivan Show, and at the end of it, she showed the letter from Ed Sullivan to Elvis asking them to do a gospel song, and they specifically asked for him to do Peace in the Valley. And I was floored when I heard that, because of everything I'd been told before. And I love that. I'll be the first one to say I was wrong. And I love that it's that way anyway. So, you learn something new. I think,
Yeah.
Kathleen, I think Cam fell asleep.
No, I'm still here.
All right. Hey, all right. Hey, we lost Cam.
No, I'm still here. I'm
All right,
just
guys.
I'm tending to my hand at the same time, packing it with cold to try and get the
Oh, yeah.
wounds closed, but it throbs every now and again.
Yeah.
I I accidentally stabbed myself yesterday.
Now the Discord's going to keep popping up. Yeah, he told me about it today, and I'm just like, I feel for him. I've done that too. You sit there and you could get ready to do something, and you think, I could really hurt myself doing this. And then you go ahead and do
Yeah,
it. And guess
and
what happens? You hurt yourself.
I did beforehand. I was like, okay, watch the tip of the knife. You don't want the
I
tip of
am
the knife to
such a
slip.
dumbass.
I
Yeah,
know. It's true. I do that all the time. Today, or not today. I did something like that the other day with a pair of scissors. I had a pair of scissors. I was sitting here, I was cutting something up, and I had them laying on my stomach because I wasn't doing. I was really tired, so I thought, man, I gotta put those back. I gotta put those back. Next thing, I fall asleep, and then when I wake up, the scissors aren't there. They're digging in my hip. They fell to the side and stabbed me in the leg. Dumbass. But I knew it was wrong to put them there. But all right, guys, this is the goodbye. Thank you, everybody. I had fun. Our next one is inside the studio on Saturday. Unless I do a Discord this week, I want to get everything planned for that and do it right. So I may do another Discord, but we are recording inside the studio this week, so it might have to hold off and we do it another day. Thank you all. We appreciate it. Great conversation. We didn't get off too much on Parker and all that, but we will have a big one on Saturday.
thank you guys.
Duncan, thank you. Heather, let me get through the names here. Kathleen, always. I hope that coffee's good. Hope you get some sleep. Now, Din for you. Lori, always for all of you. Who else we said? I don't know. I don't know if we might have lost Brent.
Yeah.
Helen, thank you, Helen. It's really nice to see you joining us now too. We had somebody else that was new. I'd never seen a name before. But all right, I'm going to end it all. You all be safe and keeping your. I had to do this at the beginning. Keeping your hearts, your minds, and your prayers. The Texas floods. They've lost a lot of life in that campground. Today they talked about a set of two girls, twins, 8 years old, that died. And the camp, just so do that. However, you send blessings through prayers, your thoughts, or whatever. Think of them. It's horrible.
And here we go. One last time, guys.
Uh-oh. I've created a beast now. All right, guys. Y'all have a good night.
Bye, guys.
Bye.